Hello, everybody, and welcome.
Hi.
Welcome. We had a nice little glitch. We've never had that happen before, where we've actually had the power spin out just before we went on. So after I almost had a massive coronary, it came back, and
Thankfully.
yeah, so don't want to be doing that all the time, but so awesome to have each and every one of you guys here tonight. Thank you so much for coming.
Hello. It's Wednesday night,
Yes.
And it's time for one of our interviews. Today is a very special day. We are having a very special guest tonight. Creator of Earthworm Jim. Does it bring you any memories? Any childhood memories, maybe? Comic books, video games, superheroes? Earthworm Jim, creator of Earthworm Jim, is going to be on in just a little bit of time. And while we are getting him here, I wanted to say hi to each and every one of you who are in here. And please, if you can, hug that like button, share it out. We would really appreciate that.
There we go. I was just getting an image up. Yeah, guys, this is going to be a lot of fun. He was actually very gracious and just had me on his panel before this to talk about the show a little bit. And actually, guys, talking about you guys as well. And I'm always looking for people that aren't in our community, but get where our community is going. And he is all over it. And they bring a lot of people through their communities. And that's what it's all about. It's not just us. It's everybody kind of growing together. And this is another step towards that. So as much... we love talking to you guys, but we're also trying to mix it with between some awesome channels that we have in here, and boys, there are a ton of them, with some that are new to our community. So this is a great chance for us all to grow. I am very excited for you to get to meet them. And yeah, I mean, who doesn't like artists? I mean, I'm just jealous of their talent. So
Yes, that's true. And I'm sure there are lots of fans who have been playing the game at various stages of their life, for sure. And by the way, if you didn't know, he is up to... create a new game based on his novel, Bigfoot Bill, right in the middle of a fundraising campaign of that one. Very exciting. Really want to know what is upcoming. I'm sure lots of people were hoping for Earthworm Jim to come back. Well, this in a way is a comeback, but it's Bigfoot Bill. So we're definitely going to ask more about that.
And that's the cool part about this, guys, is you're going to be meeting somebody. In short, what we were discussing is how YouTube has opened up the world. Now, these are guys that's gone through a change, and they're actually decided to go on their own after working with some of the biggest companies in Hollywood and across the United States, and actually build their own product from start to front. And they're embracing YouTube for that. So that's what's really cool. And like you said, we all have that in common. We're all in the trenches together. So that's really... a neat perspective, even just for all of our channels as well, to realize that you know, we are on the cutting edge of doing what just even a couple of years ago was really hard to do, even on YouTube itself. And a lot of it is the advent of the live stream has really changed a lot of that. So it's going to be a great discussion.
I think this gives the possibility on this platform to connect people that maybe we would have never really had an opportunity before.
Yep.
Before YouTube, we wouldn't dare to talk or ask questions to some of our heroes or people that are more popular.
Thank you, Karen, so much.
Yeah, but this kind of have blurred the lines, and thankfully so. And therefore, last year we tried to offer you a wide array of different themes and channels from different categories to let you guys know what YouTube has and what you can follow and check out. And more than anything, we like to know more about people themselves, beyond their creations, beyond their YouTube channel. We want to know what is behind them as people, as humans. That's what all our channel is about, is to connect as human beings.
It is an amazing feat what we got going on right now, and we take it for granted because technology changes so quickly. We're broadcasting around the world, and as you can see, I just seen a flag, Great Britain. I mean, we're touching all corners of the globe. How impressive is that? That's right, Greg's Gaming. You had Earthworm Jim on Sega. I think that was probably one of their last big kicks at the can for Sega was Earthworm Jim, though it was offered on other platforms.
Yeah, and it has been on different consoles offered, for sure. It has been Earthworm Jim HD as well, which hasn't had the best of the reviews lately because I think everybody was waiting for the new edition to come up, and we're really excited for that.
Yep, most definitely.
Well, guys, wanted to tell you hi once again, and don't forget that this is one of our interview shows today. On Monday, we had Mr. Nightshame,
Yes.
A gamer very popular in the community. If you missed that show, we're more than welcome to check that out. It's on our playlist and on our homepage. Check it out. It was really interesting. I'm sure if you haven't seen his face, you're going to be really excited to know what hides behind that amazing voice of his. That was on Monday.
True. That's right. There's some people that's never seen him before. That's right. It's a chance to see him in the flesh.
That was true.
And many people were quite shocked when they seen him. It wasn't what they were expecting, which is always cool.
Yes.
It makes for great viewing. So.
And tomorrow at 1 p.m. we are going to have a special edition of European edition of Shoutout Night,
right.
Shoutout Game Night. We're going to be presenting some of the channels, playing a game, having some fun European way at 1 p.m. Eastern. And on Friday, music night with Dawn and her uke. Really, really amazing girl from Scotland. She plays ukulele and guitar, and she sings. Her voice is just amazing.
Angelic.
Yeah, looking forward for a Friday night chill with her. So hope you can join for that as well.
Hey, Stacy, how are you?
Hello.
Yeah, exactly, April. A lot of people were surprised. Wasn't what they were expecting. Oh, you're going to take care of that stuff?
Yeah, I'm taking care.
Okay.
I'm taking care of the chat tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my God.
Don't forget to tweet it out, and also, of course, our hashtag Blue Ranch group selfies. We already posted ours time ahead since we were so excited to start the live stream. We posted it already. Just for you guys, reminder, if you can take a selfie of yourself, or even better, a selfie if you're watching our live stream, and post it on social media with the hashtag Blue Ranch group. And if it is on Twitter, we're going to be sharing it during our night. And we always like to see your beautiful faces out there. And it's a great way for you to connect outside of YouTube as well. I'm going to be posting a summarized description of what I just said in a link in description in the chat. We're always looking forward to see your beautiful faces out there.
Yes, you guys are all awesome. Thank you, each and every one of you, for being here tonight. I'm sure it's going to be... Wow, guys, already 66 likes. You guys are absolutely phenomenal. Thank you so much, guys. I will post it in, but like I say, guys, if you can like it, I'd love that. If you could tweet it, you're absolutely awesome. If you're new here and you like what we're doing and you want to see a lot more of this, we kind of do the whole thing from channel shoutout nights, these interviews. We even do a Tech Talk Tuesday we had last night. It's absolutely amazing time to all sit down and discuss YouTube for a couple hours together. Please hit that subscribe button and bell, and hopefully we can keep you entertained. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm just getting everything moved around and set up because of this great power failure.
Also wanted to remind you guys that music that we're listening in the background is generously provided by Music by MU, free music for your video channel. You can always go and check out the music there, and you can always use it for your videos as well, so go check that out. And a reminder that we have launched our merchandise store after popular requests, so you can always go and check it out. All our amazing cups, mugs, socks, leggings,
the whole kit and
t-shirts, especially socks. I love the socks. And it's a perfect gift for your father for Christmas, since it's all consists of little tools, little wrenches.
Yeah, Happy Trails, we were already running the promo part. We always do at the beginning, and then that's when the power surged on us, so we were able to catch it back in time.
Thankfully.
God. Yes. But like I said, I had a little bit of a coronary, we'll call it, to say the least. So.
And if you're new to our channel, we would really appreciate if you could hit that red button and subscribe to our channel, so you know when is the next time we are coming back.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you so much if you do.
Once again, guys, we've been getting a lot of great feedback. Thank you so much for our new banner. Now we're going to shift that towards all of our social medias. It's always good to have symmetry. If anybody you haven't seen it yet, this is our new look. It was time to update a little bit based on how our channel's working. When we first did it, it was more based on our cinematography work. But as you can see now, we've kind of done a lot of changes around here. So I thought that would kind of suit it more. What do you think, a roll call, or do you want to tell one last time about the selfies? And
yeah, I'll tell one last time about the selfies, and then you guys have time to like and share and tell your friends and do the selfie while we're doing the roll call. So are you ready? Take a selfie of you watching us, or even better, a selfie of you watching our live stream, and put it on social media with the hashtag Blue Wrench Group. If it is on Twitter, we're going to be sharing it just in a couple of minutes on our screens for everybody to see your beautiful faces. And it's never too late, because we are going to be getting back to them at the end of the show as well. And just a reminder, hashtag Blue Wrench Group is not affiliation of any kind. It's a gimmick hashtag that was created by me trying to learn how to do a selfie during our Tuesday Tech Talk. So go ahead and use it, and let's connect on Twitter and other social medias as well.
It's turned into something pretty cool. It's amazing how you can stumble into things that really catch.
Yeah, it is. And it's such an amazing, if you press on the hashtag Blue Wrench Group on Twitter, it's such an amazing online album basically of our channel and all the amazing people that are coming here almost every night. So it's a great thing. It's turned into an amazing thing.
Welcome, Cher. Cher's helped me out today getting on Discord. I didn't get to check in the end. I know nothing about our Discord. I hate to say it.
Our son is managing that.
Yes, so I am completely oblivious, but thank you so much for getting it out there. Lincoln, what's going on? Guys, I think it's that time to do that shout out.
I think so.
Yeah, let's get you guys
on. Roll call
is ready to happen. Time to mess up some names. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it with some echoes, so at least when I mess them up, it will be fun. So
I wanted to shout out especially Jody B, who is Andrew's sister, so treat her kindly.
Oh, little sis is in here. How you doing? Nice to see you. Thank you so much for coming. Yeah, show some love for my sister. She thinks it's amazing when she comes in here. She always gets subscribers, but has no content. So makes her feel good, and it makes her feel good. The world is happier. So with that said, we got Weekend Warrior Outdoors, Undead Otter, Triple G's, Triple Star Travelers, The Simple Joys, Suresh Music and Blogs, Stacy Morgan, Slick Rick, Share Productions, Shanette ASMR, Sonia Diamonds, Samantha Ward, Pusa Studios, never heard of them.
Who are they?
Princess Me, Canada Beyond the Grave, Pop Couple, PD Tech, Patricia Sprinkles, Pam M, Obilex Magnet Fishing, Nature Nerd Outdoors, Mystic Angel Christina, Mummy Chelly, MU Free Music for your videos, who you are hearing constantly tonight. Awesome tracks, go there for all your music. Miss Ride, oh, I knew I was going to mess this up.
Miss Ride, oh my goodness, sorry about that. Miss Ride Aordi. Yeah, sorry about that.
I am so sorry, I do it completely out of love, and it's my own phonetic problems. Matt Cook, Oregon, Lulu Love You, Lincoln Central Coins, Cobas Dubas, Cardoso Media, Joyce Stewart, Jody B, JD Knight 7, Jay Lippman, Yanker, Jag Fishing, Idiot of the Day, Happy Trails Hiking, Greg's Gaming, Grant McIntosh, Gill Skills, Ghost Mafia, Family Love Kitchen, Family Love Family Vloggers, Faith Darling TV, Eric Matthew Woodrow YT, Dipper Dudes Magnet Fishing, Dion Leinhardt, Diana SFNG, Carol, Karen Sommers, Avis Gaming Channel, or Avis, I'm not sure, Avas, I would say Avas Gaming Channel, Asian Family Blog, April Broswell, Animal Flosco, Abraxas Paranormal. That wasn't bad. Maybe I should keep the echo on. Not great. Nobody expected great.
It's getting better. It's getting better.
The
Don't worry.
Yes, definitely.
Also wanted to say hi to everybody who's listening to us on their headphones. If you can, say hi in the chat. If you can, that's okay too. Thank you for joining us and hope you enjoy your evening.
Yes, I guess I can take the echo off now. Or maybe just leave it on. I don't know.
And if we missed you on the roll call, please say hi in the chat.
Yes.
Sometimes that happens. So please say hi. Also wanted to remind you guys, if you do have questions for our upcoming guest, please, you're more than welcome to put them in the chat. But please be sure that you put @Push Studios or #Push Studios if you're on the phone in front of it, so I don't miss it and we can ask them during and at the end of the show to our guest.
Very true. Very true.
Yes. Patricia Sprinkles say hi. Nature Nerd Outdoor says hi. Jeremy Fryer. Nature Nerd says I'm here. That's good. Amazing, guys. Yes. And of course, our #Blue Ridge group selfies. It's never too late to put that out there.
That's right.
It's never too late to hug that like button gently or with a bear hug.
That's right.
To share it out or to reshare one of our numerous tweets today for this live stream. We would really appreciate if you let your friends know. Thank you so much in advance. And the story of Dory, we didn't miss you. I got here. Well, thank you for joining us.
Oh
and
my
Ricky
God.
Dove as
Ricky
well.
Dove is here. Welcome, guys. So awesome to have each and every one of you here.
Sura Music and Blogs, Robin Cardoso Media. Downloaded TubeBuddy today and went through all my videos to update tags.
Good stuff, my friend. Good stuff.
Awesome. Tuesday Tech Talk was yesterday. So if you guys missed that, go
Michelle
check
Legree.
that out too.
Big hug right back at you. Right back at you. Look at all these.
Linkle Central Coins. Hello,
Yes.
hello,
Always
guys.
love seeing Lincoln in here. How are you?
Yeah, and MU Free Music is in the house as well. Our choice of season 2 music for our videos. It can be yours as well, so go check him out. Idiot of the Day, Avenue Hong Kong. TriStar Travelers, good to see you. Thank you so much for coming. It's so good to see some new faces as well. Welcome to our channel, to our season 2 of Tube Talk. And today our guest is going to be a creator of Earthworm Jim.
Oh, I didn't know you were cueing me.
A
Sorry.
creator of
I was setting
upcoming
this up.
Bigfoot Bill graphic novel and video game, Doug TenNapel.
I learned something.
TenNapel.
I thought it was
TenNapel.
TenNapel. He pronounced it.
TenNapel.
Yeah, I found that out just a while ago.
TenNapel.
Yeah, I've been saying
You
it
know,
wrong
I
the
like
whole
how
time.
it's spelled. You know, it's like 2 N's, but at the same time, it's like 2 different words.
That's right.
TenNapel.
Exactly. 2 birds, 1 stone. I love it.
Yes. So welcome. Well, do you think it's time to look at the selfies on
Yep.
Twitter?
Yeah, it's that time. I just actually had him drawing here a little bit while we were talking.
Yeah,
Showing off
such
some
a
of his-
talented artist. By the way, he have received an award for being the best video, the best animator for the video games.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
That was cool when I was on
Wow.
there. We're talking about that, like the day talk about doing video games. Because you think of it, in the 90s would have been a really great time, because that was, yes, video games took off, especially in the 80s. But with that said, there was a lot of Gator Pie. Oh, I love that. That's so cool. That's when the first time artists, I think, really started to get a bit of, it wasn't just pixels. Speaking of this picture, that's why it kind of threw me off. I guess she was reading my mind. Short update video will be a bit later tonight than normal. Still have quite a bit of editing to do. Oh, that's so cool.
Well, we like when you guys are plugging yourself in. That's what it's for
Yeah.
as well.
Exactly.
And the dog is going to be here just in a few minutes, 7:30 the latest. So you guys have time to bring your coffee, go to the bathroom, tuck your kids in bed, whatever you want to do, do that now.
Jay Lippman, that is just beautiful. That is so beautiful. Our guest from last Friday, winner of the B-roll challenge, and trusty sidekick with him. Look at that smile.
I love that.
That is so cute.
By the way, Inspired John had posted his picture earlier in the day, so if you scroll back, you're going to see. Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh, there.
Yeah.
Jumped over.
I always love pictures with new generation, the upcoming YouTube creators and viewers.
Yes.
That's so amazing, guys.
That is so cute. I love it.
And well, it looks like they had fun. That's awesome.
So awesome. Thank you so much. That is really neat. Really love it. Art That Heals Stephanie. Hi, how are you?
Good to see you.
I think this is your first time with a selfie, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. But she has joined our live
Yes.
streams for a couple of times.
That is, what a great photo. Thank you so much for uploading. I love it. I love it, guys, that you guys take the time for this. Oh, that's so cool.
Cozy. I
Yeah.
love that. Nice and cozy.
It definitely is.
Awesome, guys.
I love it. Thank you so much. Skills, what's going on, my friend? Hey, how are you? Crazy setup you got. I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, we need a second screen too.
Yeah, he's got 4, so he's got lots to pick from. Well set up, my friend. Very, very nice.
April, thank you so much with your sweet boo-boo. They just celebrated their anniversary.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yes, congratulations.
What a great photo.
Such true emotions
Yeah.
and loving life. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Awesome, April.
that's really cool. Thank you so much. Enjoy, guys.
And Hannah Humanides. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Hello.
Very nice.
Awesome.
Loving it. Loving it. Hope you're enjoying the show. It's great to have you here. Thank you so much for the selfie. It's really nice, guys. We really do appreciate you guys taking the time for this.
Triple G's.
Look at that.
Watching our live stream. Awesome, guys. That's amazing.
Oh, thank you. Mystic Angel, what's going on? Nice to see you. And another shot to inspire John right there. So there are 2 for 1. Thank you so much. Weekend Warrior Outdoors. Oh, that's an intense photo. Yeah.
Wow.
You guys were doing a lot of photo shooting that day.
Well, I think
Very nice.
the hunting is going really active. Maybe it's a season now. I don't know.
Oh, it should be. Yeah. That should be into it right now. Very, very cool. Thank you guys so much. Really do appreciate all the effort, guys. You guys are absolutely, as always, awesome to the extreme. And hope you guys are going to have a great night with us. Lots to come. Lots to discuss. I'm going to get ready in just a few moments to get the first link over.
Just wanted to welcome all the new people. Sketch Therapy, Durakan. There's some couple more people that have joined in. And yeah, don't worry about that. Sketch Therapy everything is under control.
I just want to make sure our new guests all have those wrenches all well taken care of. And guys, these are some awesome creators in here. So if you're into art and that, definitely be checking these guys out. They do some great love.
And Doug TenNapel is in the house as well.
Oh,
He's
welcome,
in
Doug.
the chat, just giving the wrench. And he's waiting for the link. So we definitely, yes, D. Scott, co-host Ryzen. Hello, yeah, everybody has wrenches because it's not a status, it's a philosophy here. Everyone is equal.
Yep. And everybody's on pretty good behavior. It's worked out. And God forbid if somebody does get too far out of line, it's like a shooting gallery here. So it keeps things pretty much intact. So, but I hope you guys enjoy your time here. Feel free to mingle with
Doug
everybody.
says, yay, I have a wrench. Yes, welcome. Our guest is in the chat. Do you think we can bring him in a bit early?
I think so. I can send you the link, Doug. I'll send it to you in Twitter. So that will be really awesome if you're ready to go. Oh, I'll move the coffee mug out of your way.
Yeah, we have 2 cameras set up so our guests can watch us as well and be a little bit more of a human connection.
We're still getting used to it, yeah. So sometimes they're staring at a mug, some, anything, a set of headphones. They always get a nice view, but we try to fix that within 5 minutes. So.
Well, John Doe, you don't have a wrench, so I don't have to give it to you if you don't want to. That's up to you.
That's right.
Blindly Honestly, hello. You're right on time. We're about to invite our guest in and start our evening, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody who is retweeting it out. We really appreciate that. Kirmay, hello. Smooth Instrumentals, hi. Grant McIntosh. Good to see you. Mommy Shell, hello, hello, hello. Yeah, he wants to remain wrenchless. Not
a problem. It's not a problem. If that's what you want, you shall.
Yep. That's right. Just reminding again that you're more than welcome to ask questions to Doug and support him as well, of course, his channel. And if you are putting a question, please don't forget to put a hashtag Push Studios or @Push Studios in front of it so I can see it and make a note of it. Thank you so much. Hazy Days, hello.
Hey, Hazy Days, what's going on, my friend? Another artist builds these amazing cigar box guitars. They're absolutely phenomenal. Does them live. It's an amazing thing to watch. Over several lives, I should say. It is a ton of work.
And I see people are asking for social media for Doug. All the social medias are available in the description of this video. There is plenty out there. I know there's some fake accounts, but the links that are there goes directly to our Doug.
That's right.
So go and check it out. There's Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, and there's a website, and of course the Indiegogo fundraising page if you are interested in the upcoming comic and video game. So go check it out. It's in the description down below. Jack Fishing, hello. Nerd of the North. Awesome, guys.
Doug, if you're listening, I sent you the link. It's sitting in, I DM'd you on Twitter.
Awesome. Did you want to put the music for a bit, or do you want to just cut in right away with the guest?
Oh, my God. Oh, I made a bad mistake right there. I opened up the wrong one. Ouch. Oh my God. Guys, anybody here, it's not an excuse, but we had a power failure literally once everything was running, and all the windows are so out of place right now. So it's been a bit of a shaky start, but we're getting there. We are getting there. Yeah, that was unexpected to say the least. So there I go. We heard the doorbell. I love that part. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Hi, can you hear us, Doug? Can you hear?
Hello.
Hey, there we go. Alrighty.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Perfect. Let's bring you in then. Yeah, we're good. Alrighty, guys. Here we go. With our guest tonight, Doug TenNapel, which I finally realized I was mispronouncing wrong the whole time with TenNapel. So I do apologize, and I'm making a conscious effort to say it properly for the rest of the night.
Just put the ape in it is how you know you're doing it right.
I love that.
Ape and TenNapel, and you'll get it right.
That sounds good.
Well, welcome to the show. It is absolutely so amazing to have you here. And we have so much to talk about because you have one of the fullest lives I think I've ever met of somebody. So there's no shortage of conversation for sure.
Yeah.
So
I got a lot of stories.
You do. Like listening to you guys a while ago talking your panel, I mean, it's just unbelievable. I don't even know half the people, and I thought it was so interesting, just the backstories between you guys going through the different parts of your careers and that, and how you kind of, it seems like you guys always intertwine, miss each other for a couple of years, and kind of come back in through your work.
Yeah, there's a strange synchronicity with all my friends that have kind of spread out through entertainment, because I started at entertainment very young and they were all very young. So probably in 1991, like on Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, my animation, I was animating on that. And none of us knew what we were doing, but there was like hundreds of animators there. So now they're all working at DreamWorks and Disney and video games, and you just run into these people again. You're like, I remember you. And everyone's kind of thinking the same thing. Like, what have you been doing? And when you get caught up on each other's career, it's you may have been apart for like 7 years.
That's unbelievable.
This is what it's like getting old, right?
What is old?
You're a young man.
There's people you haven't talked to in 30 years suddenly, and that means you're old.
Well, that just means you have a good, steadfast career in what you're doing.
Yeah, that too. I'm sorry. What is your wife's name? I don't remember. I don't know.
No, you want to take this one?
My name is Ksenia, and it's nice to meet you.
How do I pronounce that again? Ksenia?
Yes, perfectly.
That was unbelievable. That's on first try. That's awesome.
Yeah.
She's the one that goes to the doctor's office and always gets the because it's spelled with a K, and she's like, "Yeah, that's me."
Ksenia.
Yeah. So
thank you.
Well, it's great to meet you. It's great to be on the show. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for coming.
Yes, definitely.
That's awesome.
Is my audio okay if I talk like this?
Perfect. Coming in loud and clear. And thank you for taking the time. It's good with Zoom, I find, to do a pre-run because you never know if you get some glitches or not. So.
Oh, that would have been a total mess if we tried figuring that out on the air. That would have been bad.
It wouldn't be the first time. We made that mistake a couple times last year. So lesson
to get
learned.
better.
So yeah, I mean, I found you. I don't think I've told everybody that. One night I was down our live stream. I always go check out some other ones. I lay down and I'm just scrolling through YouTube and I find this channel called Blacklist Universe. And I'm like, okay, it's recommended to me. It's live. And I'm like, wow, they have like 380 people in there. So it's got to be interesting. You guys were phenomenal. I didn't know nothing about what you were talking about, and I was enthralled. I think I stayed up till 4 a.m. here at time watching you.
He said, "You can't believe what I just seen. I didn't understand anything, but it was so exciting."
Everybody was an interesting character on the panel. Everybody's super talented. Everybody has a ton of stories and so much respect for each other. I thought that was such an interesting combination.
Yeah, we're big fans of each other, and we're fans of the fans. I think that's kind of what sets our entertainment apart, is that I've worked a ton in Hollywood where there's this kind of glow around the talent, and they just treat people kind of like they're less than.
Right.
And that's what's different about this group, and kind of where culture's at now on YouTube, is you really want to talk to the people in your chat, because everyone's story in this chat room right now is more interesting than any character I can make up, right? I have characters that, they go through different dimensions, or they have aliens attached to them, or they make cardboard come to life. And if you just talk to someone enough about their normal life that they think is boring, to me, it's fascinating. I didn't live your life. And you just kind of start talking to these people. And I just have regular people on my chat all the time. And it's like, oh, you professionally are fracking oil. What's that like? I don't know what that's like at all. Or you run a pet shop. Like, I don't know, what's the business like of that? And you start to see more and more that everyone's story it's epic. They have epic heartache and suffering and happiness and things they're into. Everyone has something very weird about them.
That's right.
If you dig deep enough, they're just a little weird. And we're all in the same boat is kind of what I'm into. So that's what's unique about Comicsgate, where even within comics, there's just like artists and writers and stuff. They just kind of treat people like, get in this big, long, quarter-mile long line to get my signature.
Right.
I don't get that. I have lines in front of me at Comic-Cons, and I feel bad for these people. I'm like, I wouldn't wait that long. I feel bad for these people because I see years.
That's funny you mentioned that, because that's what I find a lot of Comic-Gate, if I'm getting it, and I'm still new to it. I'm surprised by the amount of empathy, which I think is why you guys reach out so much to your audience. You don't want that border. You actually really forcefully are trying to get rid of it. And you have people on your panel. You throw the Hangout links in there, and you have, like, there was a 5-year-old kid from Taiwan. Guys with 50 subscribers.
I threw my Hangout link on Twitter.
Really?
Oh my God.
That's how disastrously dangerous I am, because people can come on your show and post bad stuff.
Right.
Yes. That's risky.
So a lot of my friends are going like, oh, be careful. And I go, I just don't live my life in fear, because in general, there's always like 3 bad people out of thousands. And you can't let those 3 bad people dictate the joy you're going to experience with the other 1,000. It's worth getting your channel shut down by taking certain risks. Now, I'm not going to put my home address online.
No.
I'm not done. But, and it's all an experiment, right? You're learning I watch you guys, and you're learning your channel exactly the way I'm learning mine. You're diving in and doing it. You're going to make mistakes.
Yes, that's right. 100%.
And you have to be okay with certain mistakes you're just gonna make. That's just part of it.
Well, in YouTube, we don't have, we're our own producer, our own director, we're our own talent, we're our own agent. There's a lot of hats, and if you want to do it and get better, you're gonna have to get used to making mistakes. I'm a perfectionist, but I've had to learn to bite the bullet and say, this is what it takes to grow on here, is to make those mistakes.
Yeah, and you guys put out good product. If you have 3,800 subscribers, you know, you can't break the 1,000 mark and just have nobody that interested. If you can get 3,800, you can get 50,000, you can get 100,000. It's exponential, you know, so it's always a slow climb at the start.
Right.
Once it starts clicking up there and people see that you're doing good product, and it's good product if you have 3,800 people. I don't mean to reduce this to product as if you're a company.
It is.
You know what I mean? It's like,
definitely.
Thank you.
It's like you've got that thing that people, they just want to spend their time here instead of watching TV.
That's amazing a feeling. I always thank people, you know, whether it's 2 minutes or 2 hours, their time is precious, and there's a billion channels. To be chosen is an honor.
It is, and just think about it. If you ran the show during the Super Bowl, some people would show up because they love what you do in your living room more than like a $200 million production of an organized sport. And so if I can just get 3 people during the Super Bowl watching my show, and you'd probably get a lot more than that, right? You'd probably get hundreds.
Yeah.
That's just a huge compliment, because right now they could be watching Infinity Wars on Netflix. They own it. They could watch it right now. That's a $300 million movie. And they're saying, I don't want to watch that $300 million movie. I want to sit here with these people. That's amazing.
It is. So well put.
It's very humbling too.
Yes.
You know, so many people from all around the world giving their time to, as you said, instead of watching, you know, $1 million blockbusters. It is very humbling.
I think pedestrians like us value the time of the audience more, perhaps, than the Infinity Wars directors. Crew. I don't want to cast aspersions on that. I'm only saying that we are a little more intimate and get it a little bit more, that we actually value. It's like 3 people show up. Thank you. Glad you're here. Awesome. Let's talk.
That's right.
And the fact that I've never seen someone give out that moderator to anyone who wants one, you know, in their chat. I think that's a great move, because it shows that you trust them with authority on your channel. And it's like a badge. I think that's great.
Yep. And then there's the Mega Co-op. It was the adverse of sometimes the wrench is held like a biscuit in the air, and you know, it's used in controlling, and it's an elite club, and I didn't want that. I wanted a co-op, because we're all equal. Whether you have 20,000 or 10,000 or 300,
that is correct.
You know,
that is correct. They ought to reward you by spreading your link all, because we have no marketing plan. Right. Our marketing plan, word of mouth. So
100%.
I think you do very well with that plan.
Well, thank you very much. And I love your attitude towards what you were saying was what I was hoping to hear, because I enjoy your view on how YouTube should be approached. And for somebody who has been in the large part of the upscale media, to bring that knowledge down here and have that outlook, I think is important for people here to hear from you. Yeah,
we're showmen and showwomen. We put on a show, and that is often confused with making money. I get it, because now mass media is just huge money. But the art form is still put on the show, and the money doesn't always come. So I think that's more what I'm into, because I came from, and I'm sure you guys from your countries came from humble beginnings. And I just never, so I've worked with huge Hollywood people, huge, and I love them too, but I always just treated them as peers. I actually believe it's immoral to treat non-famous people worse than you'd treat any famous person. It's very hard to practice that discipline, by the way, because culture's training us to, when this star, if Justin Bieber walks in the room, it's like, stop everything. And what we end up doing is robbing even these celebrities of a normal human experience. And they may like it, They may be like, hey, take the green M&Ms out of my M&Ms before you serve them to me. Those people you want to steer clear from.
Yep.
But my heroes are guys like Steven Spielberg. When I pitched Neverhood at his house, and he served me punch and cookies, and I saw one of the richest, powerful men in the world trying so hard to be normal, and he has to make it like a full-time job, just to be a mortal, a regular mortal. And I saw something kind of robbed of him, like he wears T-shirts and jeans around his house. He was very casual, but I don't know if they'll ever have a normal human experience, because famous people can't walk in a coffee shop without getting Stephen, read my script. Just read my script. You know, they get the special treatment.
Their life is a pitch.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have this one story where I worked with Ben Affleck on a show called Push Nevada. This is back in 2004 and maybe 2003. And I had a meeting with him to talk about writing. I was an associate producer on the show, and I would go to the Disney commissary. So this is the big cafeteria where all the Disney people eat their gourmet meals. And I would show up there always about 20 minutes early to make sure I made my meeting because of LA traffic. And so I'd always bring a sketchbook with me and draw. And I went to the commissary early, and I would just sit there and I was just drawing people. And of course, it was full of people in just high fashion suits and very, you know what I mean, very powerful movers and shakers in the industry. And the waitress just kind of came up and just kind of said, whatever you want, you know, let me know and I'll get back to you in a minute. I'm busy. And she ran off to take care of someone else. And then Ben Affleck walked in and sat at the table with me. And everyone in that room turned their attention, not just to him, but they were making eye contact with me.
Yeah.
Who's this guy?
That's right.
He's drawing in a sketchbook and Ben is looking at it. And suddenly I became the second most important person in the room. And the waitress came back. And I mean, the room was like, it was eerie to me, the change in social temperature.
Right.
And suddenly everyone in the room was looking at us, and the waitress came back and said, and gave him a menu and started crying, like tears in her eyes, going, I just want you to know, I'm the biggest fan of your work. And, you know, this movie or whatever meant a lot to me. And it was Good Will Hunting.
Wow.
She was crying. And she said, I just want you to know, anything on the menu that you want, we'll take care of it. And then she looked over at me. Oh, and whatever you want's free too. And she gave me a menu too, like second place guy. It was so uncomfortable and bizarre.
Oh my God.
That I come from farm territory. You know, I was a farm hand and I worked in just, you know, shoveling dried cow blood full of maggots and baling hay and chicken farms and working at Wendy's. And this is like going to a different planet, you know.
It must have been. With
a totally different economy. And I've always tried to hold on to my small country values, even as I was always ready to just go in and take over the arts. You know, I have a plan of cut the head off of culture and replace it, you know, with something better. I'm here to destroy everything.
Break all the rules and make it new.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm the one who knocks. And then, and she left. And Ben and I had a very short meeting. You know, he didn't want anything because famous people never have to eat because they have so much free food and drinks thrown at them all day. I'm like so cheap. I'm like, I'll take everything on the menu. This is free food. And so Ben, we wrapped up our meeting and he left. And I kept looking back around the room and everyone was still looking at me. Who's this guy? Wow. Like I just by touching Ben Affleck, by being near him, I gained power.
Yeah,
that was very disturbing. Mm-hmm. Not personally shocking because my values are so burnt to the ground. I could care less. You know, I'm crispy scar tissue now. but I just trying to weigh everything, going like, Hollywood is like a royalty. And when even when you work in a regular office and when the boss walks in the room,
Yes.
everyone acts different.
That's right.
And the copy boy and the Mexican cleaning lady, we treat like trash.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like that just, it always bugs me.
Yeah. And it is, and it's in everything you do. It's even in YouTube here, we put up with it. Like you say, our job, it even happens in families. Once hierarchy becomes involved, there is going to be that awkward points, that uncomfortableness, that it doesn't mean you're necessarily the best or the greatest. It just means you're the most renowned at that moment. And you tend to, you have a lot of control, and it can be used for good or bad, as like most comic books.
Yeah.
You know, they are that superhero of the moment or that villain.
Yeah. And I always felt bad during Comic-Con because I would have 100 fans coming up to me wanting to tell me stories, say, of what Earthworm Jim meant to them when they first played it when they were 6 years old.
Right.
And I was just trying to push a book on them because I had to pay for the rent of that space at San Diego Comic-Con. And that never lined up with my values either. It bugged me that they wanted to interact with a human being. Yeah. And I was trying to, just white knuckle trying to treat them well because this is the first time they met me and I met them. But so that always jacked with my mind a lot, just that.
But people had good experiences with you as we were like researching and that, a lot of people, find a lot of fan pages and stuff and that, and a lot of people, more than you would usually expect to find percentage wise, really had a very flattering interaction with you when they got to meet you.
Yeah, that is me. I'm trying to put on a show for them that is intimate because that's what they want, and humane. And they interview me and I start interviewing them. Yes. Where are you from? What are you about? And they're like, and they're taken back. Like they don't expect that. They don't have their answer ready. Whereas I have all my answers ready, because I've heard them 1,000 times. So go ahead.
I watched the interview of a 6-year-old girl with you.
Yes.
She had an assignment for school and she had an interview with you and it ended up you interviewing her. It was so fun to watch. And I thought it was such an amazing thing you were doing.
Yeah, that little girl was Holly. And I get a lot of requests to do in classroom meetings and one-on-one portfolio reviews with people. And I'm just getting so busy that I can't do a lot of those. And it starts to make me feel bad, because I want to keep being humane to these people. So every once in a while, one of them, I'll just go, okay, we're going to do a show. Get on. You can interview me. I interview you for your class.
It was...
And we go. She was wonderful. Holly,
yes.
She was wonderful.
Yes, it was so much fun to watch.
It was actually flowed so well. It was like, it was unbelievable, like to watch it going.
Yeah.
And like you say, you do that with even adults as well. You pose the questions right back at them again as they're talking to you. I know you are a people person and you go for their story. Do you ever hope that you might hear something in their story that might not influence you, but inspire you maybe for the next story that you'll work on too? You're always hoping to hear something from somebody?
It's not that specific. It's weird because it goes out in the realm of truth, goodness, and beauty, which is so out there. It's very difficult to grab. And I try and stay in that headspace instead.
Okay.
So what interviewing people and interacting with people does is it keeps me intimate, keeps me human, right? By talking to people. So I'm just not here in my studio alone doing weird esoteric stuff about octopus tentacles and robots. It's my work is known for kind of bridging the two,
right? Which
is what I feel like I did with the arts and my farm town. Is I'm bridging kind of normal America with the broadest odd thoughts there is, because I just think a lot of the arts suffer from just going off into that space realm and forgetting you're doing this for your fellow humans. You bring it back to Earth.
Right.
So that's what those kind of interviews and talking to people and interviewing them does, is it keeps me very tied to the human heart that I'm always trying to put in my story. So it's not specific like, oh, your story gets put in.
Yeah.
It's more the kinds of stories that I'm telling are things I've heard 1,000 times. So I know I'm telling very universal stories using often oddball or very creative language is what I'm trying to do. Because the goal is to get the pedestrian when I read it, like the normal guy in me, I read these things. It's supposed to be like, aha, and enlightenment and bizarre. But I'm a translator between the two, is what I'm trying to be, a conduit. So I'm not trying to be up in the skies, and yet I'm not a guy who goes out and has a normal job. I'm the guy between the two.
Right.
It's a weird place to be.
I was telling you earlier on tonight that I grew up in rural Quebec, a very small town, and spent most of my adult life here in Montreal. And I think I've tried to raise my kids the same way I always wanted to be, was a Renaissance man. And I believe the two of them can build something really special in you. And it's not that you're fake or anything. There's a time and a place for everything, but you can mingle the two of them together to kind of have a broad outreach to people. It gives you a larger audience you can relate to.
Yeah. And so we talked about this earlier too, that more and more, I think, as the audience tunes into YouTube and gets human interaction like this and human interaction like us in the chat, the very real people in the chat who have epic stories of their own, if we were just to interview them, the more we do this, I think the stuff that goes on in Hollywood where you pay a star, $80 million a year or whatever, is going to feel more and more alien. That's going to be weird. This kind of fame, mutual fandom, and humane. We don't put on makeup. There's not a makeup chair for us where you take all the blots off, and you and I don't have professional lighting rigs. You know what I mean? To put the key source and backlighting and all that. Yeah. We're regular people in our studios. This is going to become mainstream entertainment.
Yeah.
I'm convinced of it.
Yep.
There's already millions of us doing this.
Yep.
It's going to be like pedestrian entertainment, and it's only a matter of time before we get culturally trained and saturated in this, and that stuff's going to feel weird.
Most definitely.
I feel a shift. That's my hunch. I could be wrong. This could just be a fad that's going to go away or whatever. I just don't think people are going to. The polish is. It'd be one thing if that idealized, polished Hollywood thing was telling the truth. We'd probably be attracted to that ideal, going, "Oh, that's beauty. That's just beyond our range. It's true." But there's something where people kind of buy it now. They're going, "Oh, wait, that's fake.
Yep,
that's product, and this is real."
That's right.
And people are attracted to the truth. You can't. The truth is it's a bee to try to get around, if you know what I mean. You can't get around it. It just sits there.
Yep.
And you can't get around it for long.
And I got to tell you, after we spoke this morning, I went to Xenia, I probably had this grin from ear to ear, and I'm like, I can't believe he used the same analogy that I used. And I told him, I said, I'm not gushing. You can go back and see it. It's true. In the early 2000s, people got a taste of reality TV, found out it was a lie, and they've been craving it ever since. They've been waiting for that moment where it actually happened, and I believe that's what we're finally starting to give them.
Yeah. We're transparent. You talk about your kids, your dad, and your family, and that's just more interesting because it's real. No one, you know what I mean? What you put out is this is actual how people are. I think that's just more fascinating because I love people, so I'm already a fan. I love people. I'm already a fan.
And right back at you guys, like the community thing was so strong, and that's why I was so glad Mike came on tonight to actually say thank you for introducing me to a whole new community. It was really cool.
Yeah, Mike's great, and he's a guy that I just kind of stumbled into too. Of course, he knew Ellis all the way back.
Yes, I heard that.
1993. I was close to Ellis because I worked with him in video games. Mike was his studio mate doing art, and I didn't meet Mike probably till I got on Facebook. I was on Facebook back in 2009 or 8 or something, but I started seeing Mike show up in my feed because our values are the same.
That's amazing.
He was ranting in the same way that I did. I kept seeing him show up probably around 2010. And then here we're doing Comicsgate Comics now in 2018. And I'm far closer to him now than I've ever been. And I just found out that he was a flatmate, shared a studio with Ellis.
That's amazing.
One of my best friends who's living like a hermit alone in Oklahoma. And I just hooked up with him after, and I put Mike on the same show. So it's just the connectivity is spooky.
It is. It's the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon even shrunk down to like microform.
Yeah.
I hope you'll help Ellis. I hope you'll help Ellis get on YouTube because he is really interesting.
He's weird, man. He is in a cool, safe way. He's a
Yes.
strange, amazing guy.
He's
And
like an eclectic farm boy. That's what I was thinking the whole time I was listening to him, you know?
He would tell me stories. This is back in 93. He was an elevator repairman. So here we are doing animation in the top Sega Genesis video games. And he'd sit next to me in the cubicle, and I would just sit at his feet and just go, Ellis, tell me a story. He'd go, well, I used to be an elevator repairman. And I'll tell you, you know, you get up in that control panel and there's all the gears up top. And if you can get on top of an elevator, you own it. That was a saying that we had around Blue Sky. If you can get on top of an elevator, you own it. So we'd all have these terrible deadlines to try and get around. And they were going like, do you own the elevator yet? It became its own saying of how well you're doing art on a video game. Came from this Oklahoma background. And you could just ask him about, if you talk about Lovecraft or just some obscure, that's not obscure now, but back then it was, but you just talk about some obscure writer and he'd read the whole series. He's one of the best read guys, and he sounds like just a total Okie. Hey, how's it going? And he was like deeply read, deeply brilliant. And it was young. That was before I have 4 kids now. That was before I had kids. We would just sit around with a Pixel Vision camera and just go, hey guys, let's make a movie. And we'd cast it and write it on the spot and direct it and shoot it. That is what like pedestrian artistry is about. And that's how we all got into the arts. Wow. You know, you didn't start being a professional cameraman.
No.
You started with a fascination of the medium. Before you got paid to do it, you loved it.
Well, yeah, anything with the arts, you're going to have that volunteer time. That learning, it doesn't come with a manual. It's just paying your dues and experimenting. But
that's what fascinates me about because our audience is that. Our audience are guys trying to get in and trying to make something go. They're trying to find their voice. They're trying to find their medium, or maybe not. Maybe they just like watching about it or whatever. But a lot of the guys kind of coming up, that's what fascinates me, because once you've made it, it's not weird anymore. It's like, I get it. Okay, you cracked that nut. Everyone had to scam into this industry in their own way. They had to beg, borrow, and steal, or they had to come up with some bizarre, amazing, they wrote a song and it went on YouTube and got 1 million followers, or you wrote an indie film that cost $12,000 Paranormal Activity, and it made $100 million, you know, at the box office. Everyone's got their weird, I'm trying to crawl up story. So to me, if I'm talking to an audience, I'm not going to tell them about what it's like to be famous and make money. I want to tell them what it was like crawling on the way up. And I'm listening to people whose their story is they're the next Steven Spielberg. We'll be begging them for jobs, and they're sitting in the chat right now. We don't know which one it is.
That's right.
It's like someone's gonna burst out and just get lucky and be 1 million followers, and we'll be begging to go on their YouTube show and get some subscribers. You know what I mean?
That's right.
That's what I believe, because that's what we're all made of.
That's right. Everybody has an opportunity here to do something. There's a lot of luck, but there's also opportunity.
Yeah.
Same as anything you guys in the arts, like in Hollywood style arts or in music, you know, you got to be ready for that time comes. You got to have your best game forward. I always tell people, because it could hit like lightning.
Pusha, I also love colossal failures.
Yes.
Because there's stuff that I float up there and it just dies. Like it is so clear it was a wrong move. It didn't seem like it while I was making it, but or maybe even a wrong tweet. You know, you do one wrong thing and you just watch everything collapse around you. So I was in Comicsgate on Ethan Van Sciver's channel with 75,000 subscribers. And Bigfoot Bill had, I think it was like $48,000 behind it. And I said the wrong thing. I criticized someone in Comicsgate, and they all started taking back their donation.
Oh my God.
En masse.
Oh
like
my God.
A ton of them. I lost $2,000 in 45 seconds. Just went. And people started unsubscribing to my channel. And I started laughing. They're like going, Doug, why are you laughing? I go, because this is so great to watch a failure in progress is so funny to me. It's so much more important than the money. Because it's humbling, and it's also when life imitates art.
Yes.
Because you're watching, like, it's an art form when we communicate and talk, and you're trying to make sales, and every once in a while you do a boo-boo, and then just watch it all just drain. The money's just going down right before your eyes. I'm cracking up going, no. In a way, it's funny that I'm losing money, and it'd be funniest if I lost everything. But I only lost 2,000.
Oh my God. Oh my.
And then what's weird is I would have guys email me after that event and say, I match your values, and whatever amount you lost, I'm going to donate in myself. I will donate $2,000.
Wow.
So even after that happened, the art form continued. Right. The social media art form and crowdfunding continued on a different level. It was just weird. And I was just learning from it going, my mind is blown. I didn't expect this.
That's amazing.
I thought I had this whole thing wired.
Right. That's a shock to you when something like that happens.
But at the same time, you're pretty open on your Twitter. The discussions that you have with other creators and artists of different subjects, touchy subjects sometimes.
My warning is I'm brutal on Twitter. If you follow me at Doug TenNapel, a lot of what I say is not going to float with a lot of this audience, and I'm already. That's a fair warning that people are often shocked that I know that no one endorses me. It's not an endorsement at all. It's just I feel like I need to be myself in social media, and sometimes that's there's some sharp edges on there that a lot of people aren't. I don't want to blame them for being uncomfortable with it, because I get that what I say is shocking to our culture. Right. Absolutely shocking. So that's just part of me being me, because I just go, if I go out there and put a channel together and raise funds on my Indiegogo and do a YouTube channel, I don't feel like I'm doing it right by my strategy if I'm not being myself. And that means I'm going to have to be comfortable with losing followers if I say certain things. Yeah. Because my goal is to shake those people out of my audience, and gain the people who are true, not just fans of my work, but fans of me. And even if they disagree with my values, they believe that it's okay to say it. Yeah. So now I've got 5,300 subscribers on YouTube. They've heard everything, right? And I just figure if they're with me now, then if YouTube chose to destroy my career, it would survive. Mm-hmm. Because these people would go with me wherever I opened up another channel. Yeah. Or if Twitter bans me for what I say, and they may any day now, my 13,000 followers are they've heard it all. And I know a ton of them. Yeah. I've got the Hollywood liberals, I've got transgendered in my followers, and I've got evolutionists. I'm always ripping on evolution, and they're there like that. And they're meant to be in my audience. Yeah. The people who leave my audience are not meant to be there. They just can't stomach it, or they're supposed to go to another person's audience, right? They're there for another channel. Yeah. And the cool thing is that enough of us are getting out there with a diversity of messaging, a diversity of style, that somewhere out there is your channel where you're going to hang on their channel for 2 hours a day. Yeah. Or you're going to follow their Twitter feed and you're going to hang on every word they say. Because I'm that way with other people, where they can do no wrong, or they insult everything I stand for, and I still follow them because I'm just into them. I like their style.
And that's a big part of it too, is you can have respect for somebody who doesn't have the same opinion as you. And you can follow a channel. I was telling you today about this Pauline Newman, who has a purse channel, and all the guys are now going there to watch it. It's because they really enjoy the way she presents. She's a good supporter. It's so good when you're on YouTube, like anywhere else, I believe, is to have an open mind. Because you never know who's your next collaboration, your next biggest fan, or your next biggest inspiration coming out of it, or who could be tomorrow 100,000 bigger than they were today. There's opportunities.
There's a channel that One Comicsgate didn't fund. They didn't get Ethan Van Sciver's approval or endorsement. And they're an English couple in England. And they put together their own channel ripping on Ethan Van Sciver.
Okay.
So they're just going like Ethan Van Sciver. Like he wouldn't support us. He's not for the free market. This is very communist. Like they were just tearing into him. And I was on Ethan Van Sciver's show and we were listening to the YouTube channel together. And they went from like 19 subscribers to like 100 subscribers and I'm a subscriber because as a fan, a true fan of Ethan Van Sciver and Comicsgate, having enemies of Ethan Van Sciver is also entertaining. Yes. Because I know the subject matter so well. And they started going after Antonio Bryce in another episode, Ethan's like co-host. And I was just howling, laughing, going, these people, they're so wrong. Yeah. But man, you putting this stuff out, I'm in. Yeah, I'm so in, man. This is good.
That is awesome. Well, you guys' community is so intertwined. I mean, your enemies and your best friends are all wrapped in, and your so-sos and all those.
Yeah. Oh, and the worst thing that's ever been said about me have been by my fellow comic skaters, Ethan and that crew. They insult the living hell out of me. That's part of the room of guys.
Well, that's it. Yes, because you guys spend a lot of time.
Like, you better get a thick skin. And I'm telling you, man, my skin is so thick after about 15 years of contract that it would be very hard to shake me.
Yeah. And that's a good thing. I mean, especially for in the business and that, because it's not just insults, but rejection. You're always pitching, so it's never going to be always sunny days.
Yeah. Well, if you go out in the public, you got to be ready to hear it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You put it out there and you can't, that's a big thing that kind of opened my eyes probably about 10 years ago when I first started getting on Twitter and really started getting flack for my beliefs. For people who don't know, I'm a conservative evangelical and a Republican and a fine artist. So some of my views, and I mean very conservative evangelical, if you know what I mean, that I started, and I was very good friends with Andrew Breitbart before he died. I wrote for his page.
Really?
And he's actually my mentor on that. Was one day his career got so destroyed for being part of the Tea Party movement in America, which is a very right conservative movement. And they just destroyed his Hollywood career. And he said, I said, how do you weather 100 times more flack than I get? And he said, one day I realized they took everything from me, like every job. And he has a wife and kids, right? Wow. They took everything from me. And once that happened, he said, it's like an enlightenment hit me. And I put my head up and I realized they couldn't take anything else from me. And I was free. For the first time in my life, I felt free from what everyone thought of me because I put it out there. They destroyed everything. They can't take anything more. It's all gone. And he goes, suddenly it weaponized me because now I can go out and tell the truth because they can't do any more damage. So he just it unleashed him. And he ended up being part of the giant Republican backlash in 2010. Like that retook the House and Senate. Like he was the guy that kind of spearheaded that by telling the truth and being honest. And I learned from him on that day that once a lot of my Hollywood career dried up and a lot of my comics career dried up, but there were people who would work with me because I'm damn good.
Right.
And suddenly the people that were just kind of biting from the sides didn't bother me anymore because I realized they'd taken about all they could from me. And now if someone wants to work with me in Hollywood, they pretty much know what they're getting. So I know it's honest, right? I know they're in it, what they're in it for. They're in it for what I do in my work. And there's a confidence and a freedom that comes with that is wonderful. But people who are getting into social media, it's like, you got to get ready with your thick skin. You got to know who you are and know what you believe, right? No matter what side you're on.
Yep.
Because, there's always someone out there trying to just hate on you and manipulate you into changing what you believe, not by reasoning with you, but by bullying you. And that's never a good reason to change your mind about anything.
That's very
by
true.
Getting backlash.
And we see a lot of that here in YouTube as well.
Yeah.
It's very common. And these messages you just said so pertain into this realm as well. I truly believe that, because there's a lot of that too. You have to know what you are. And a lot of people see stuff and they'll be like, well, they're making money doing this one. This is taking off. I'm going to do it. You can't. You can't emulate somebody else. It will never happen. You know, like
no one wants to buy a cheap imitation of the real thing.
That's right. You gotta make it your own. Like you said too, like a lot of comic book stories are retold. It's the person telling the story that makes the one that takes off. It's their voice, their characters, their vision.
That's right.
And
that's what turns me on, is I want to be the guy that I want to be the one who knocks.
Yes.
I don't want to. So I'm fascinated by other successes, even your own success.
Oh,
fascinates me.
I don't know for a success yet.
Well, no, you are. 3,800 subscribers is a huge success. And all these people engage in the chat. You don't see that many people commenting, and you guys show pictures of them. I saw your show. You show pictures of them and you interact with them. That's a huge, humane success. Yeah. It will get bigger because it's a good model and people want what you're putting out. You're going to make, I know you're going to make it bigger.
Thank you.
But so other people that want to imitate you can't do what you do, because no one's going to do your show like you do it.
Right.
If they want the real thing, they have to come here. Only one place to get it, here. If people want what I do, there's only one place they're going to get it. Sorry.
That's right.
And that's the only. And so, what's weird is if you fail, fine.
Yep.
People don't want what you put out, and you have a level of clarity that what you put out does not connect to people on mass media.
Yes.
And if they do start coming in, then you get a confirmation that what you put out, just being you and doing your thing, is what people want. That's what you want, because then you never have to tell a lie.
That's right.
To get popularity. You don't have to be someone. I never wanted to succeed and be like, well, they love the Doug show because I'm totally someone else.
Yeah.
I've hidden my values. I've hidden my real life. I put on this show host. Hey, everybody, it's the Doug show. Let's do some wacky drawings. Let's talk about Earthworm Jim for 8 hours straight. It's like, as long as I do that, as long as I stay on that leash, and slavery, I can get 100,000 subscribers. Or if I do put out porn, I'll get 100,000 subscribers. It's like, that's not me.
Yeah.
And so it's like a false victory. Yes. We're going to get a real victory.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's so much easier, I think, to do real you in a long term, because how long can you be fake something? At some point, you're going to slip, and be exposed. It's so much easier to be yourself.
That's Mark Twain. He said, telling the truth is easier because you don't have to remember so many lies.
That's right. And everybody's so observant today. You cannot do it because people are going to piece it together. You're going to let little crumbs slip here and there. And then comes the big finale. And then that's when you fall. Because when somebody's exposed, whether even it was a big thing or a little thing, they want to see you fall because they feel cheated. So why even set yourself up for that kind of failure is my question.
Oh, when you get up to 20,000 subscribers, there's people that flat out want you to fail.
Yep.
Just because you have that many subscribers. They're like, I'm onto this guy. I'm going to do the big exposure of, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Pusa, I'm going to expose these guys as fake and try and get everyone to unsubscribe. And when you get up to 70,000, they try and start shutting your channel down.
Yep. That's right. It never ends.
That's just the way. That's just the way we are in mass media.
It is. It is. And that it pertains exactly through any of it, whether here or in the big screen. It's just human nature, unfortunately, for a lot of people. They all say when you're smaller, I want to see you get there. And then when they get there, the band, they all play together, 4 bands. Oh, I want one of us get big, I'm happy. No, you're not. Because when that other band gets big, there's going to be some jealousy sitting in the pit most times, unfortunately.
Yeah, when there's people out there, and it's probably a little bit in all of us, when you see something else succeed, you're like, well, that's fake.
Yes.
They're making it because that's fake. And I have to be the truth teller that exposes it.
That's right.
And there's people that just go around exposing everything. They're almost like conspiracy theorists.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Who want to go and expose everything and the truth about data. And because they're really uncomfortable with the idea that there's actual entertainment and actual human connection going on, I think that scares them. Or they have to maybe deep down inside believe that everyone's in it for the money.
Yep.
Everyone's in it for the fame.
Yep.
Or everyone's in it for the success. For some other reason, you know, they're on to you is what they suspect.
Even if oh, sorry, go ahead. Even if you're working like an office job and there's 20 people and one gets promoted, the same thing happens. You know,
Yeah.
They all wish one could get ahead. And a lot of times it's people who spend more time worrying about why that person got the promotion versus I should get my job together and be the next one in line when it comes.
That's right. Instead of, it's always easier
Yep.
to think that the whole world is stacked against you.
Yes, that's right.
Than work on your own skill set and engaging people. That's far more risky and scary and takes a lot more work, right? That's the hard work.
That's right.
It's easier to sit back on your couch and just go, they're all fake.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those guys.
Yeah, that's right.
It's too fun making awesome stuff.
He's a sellout is always my favorite. You're going to hear no matter what industry. He's a sellout.
Yep. What a sellout. Fake.
Yep, that's right.
Fake. No, I'm really enamored by fellow people that find a way to connect to that huge audience. It's very strange to me what's happening on YouTube and what's happening in mass media culture. How did you get 100,000 followers on Twitter and stuff? I'm going, I wonder what that guy's shtick is, because I'm reading the Twitter and I don't get it.
Yeah.
But he must be doing something that I'm not if he's talking to that many people.
Yep.
And usually you see just like a huge stream of hatred coming from their Twitter, making fun of movies and stuff, and go, oh, that's why.
People like drama.
Yeah, drama sells.
People like, man, if I just made my whole channel about tearing into certain movies, popular movies and TV shows, that's a quick way, but I just can't stand the thought of doing that every day.
But you stick to your high road. The short amount of time I've known you, what I respect the most out of anything is how you stick to your core values, how you put the link out and invite small creators up, talk to them, and never once have I heard any dissension in your voice. It's always an equal platform. I love that about what you do.
Thank you. I dig people.
Well, I believe that's what builds long-term strong relations. It takes a few more minutes, but it really does strengthen it.
And even if I fail, or even if this is the ceiling, I'm ecstatic.
Yes.
With what I've got, that's the key to happiness: is be happy with what you've got instead of what you don't.
Right.
Is the key to happiness, and gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
Gratitude is I'm thankful is what keeps me happy. It didn't have to turn out this way. I got so many lucky breaks, and just if I'd turn right instead of left or left instead of right, I'd have just failed. And so that brings a level of sobriety to even my own success. You know, it's like, well, and I wish it for someone else, because I don't feel like it's all about me. Like I'm all that amazing and I'm the only one that can do it. Yeah. I think other people can succeed and be happy and dig this. You know?
You've been telling some of the young ones that are on with you, the up and comers, and I see you truly enthralled by their work. Like, it's not just patronizing. Oh yeah, you're getting it.
Yeah.
You know, and that could make or break their confidence to go for that next job. You know, you could be the secret to their success from.
They're me. They're me. And if you listen to Mike Miller on my show, remember what he said when Ellis said, "Do you think you got better than when you were in the studio with me 30 years ago?" He said, "Do you think you got better?" And Mike said, "I look back on my art back then and I was terrible." Right? And I'm the same way. I look back on my art 30 years ago and I go, I was terrible. So how was it that a terrible artist made Earthworm Jim? And became like Game of the Year.
That's true.
I'm fascinated by that I'm better than I've ever been. And it doesn't necessarily succeed. That just is really interesting to me, that terrible artists make a living all the time. So when I see a young up and comer who maybe isn't quite as polished as he should be, but has high energy and is very enthusiastic, it turns me on. I go, oh, this guy could be going somewhere.
And it intrigues you.
Just seeing someone who's as terrible as I was, and almost all the artists on my show are better than I was when I was their age, 17-year-olds and 18-year-olds. I go, oh, this guy, he has a few more tools than I had, a few more ability sets than I did at his age. He made us make it.
Yep.
And that fascinates me. So I'm a fan of mass media culture. That's what I've worked in for 30 years, in comics, video games, television, selling movie deals. I'm a mass media entertainer. And so just what is mass media and how does it work is stuff that keeps me up at night.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You're always looking for that new nugget and that next part of grasping the idea and the concept.
Yeah. And what makes the audience tick? It's like for the longest time, I watched PewDiePie, one of the most successful YouTubers ever. I'm going like, I don't get it. I'm old. I don't get it. Like, what in the world is this guy doing? He's like a god. And, but at the same time, or Justin Bieber or whatever, I just think these guys are doing something that is tapping into a universal human truth, or at least a universal human truth for an age range.
Yeah.
Where you're going, they're speaking their language.
Right.
And it doesn't mean I have to ape them or adjust them, because I'm never going to start rapping like Kanye and pull off being cool at 52 years old, But I am always trying to learn from them and see what's making that stuff work, because it is working.
We PewDiePie, our son used to watch him when he just started, and we were like the same as you, never understood like what was going on, like
lost.
What is it? And now he couldn't hear less about it, and we sometimes watch him because he has turned into something completely different than when he started.
Yeah.
He has real content.
Yes.
He's
By practicing, he lays down really good content.
He's very funny. He's really once you get his humor and it clicks, it's like, but he's also matured since we've watched him too. He's found more of an adult voice in what he does.
Yeah. That's the 10,000 hour principle. I mean, you do something for 10,000 hours, you're going to get better at it than most.
That's right. Whether you want to or not.
Yeah, he's a true showman now.
I wanted to bring up about Earthworm Jim. It's something I find very refreshing about you. I was telling you tonight, I work with a lot of musicians over time, and a lot of them are known, especially for that one song or that one album. And they either despise it and get mad at their fans if they ask for it, or they talk constantly about it and nothing else. You're one of the first people that's found that balance where you embrace it. You do not lose it if people ask you about it, but you also show that you have more layers to yourself than just that. I think that's absolutely phenomenal and rare.
Yeah. Thank you. Earthworm Jim is weird because when I made him, he was like a drawing on a piece of paper in our apartment, my wife's in my apartment in Irvine before we had kids in 1993. And I was desperate for a job. And, but I made quote unquote Earthworm Jims every day of my life. That's all I do is I created characters and gave them a story, gave them a name, because I was raised on that kind of product of like Mickey Mouse and, just anything that was famous before that time, E.T., and Star Wars and things. Like I was just fascinated with creating the thing. So I was very well practiced by the time I sat down and just said, I'll plot. The video game company asked me to create a character to see if I would apply, if I could get the job. So I sat down and just plopped out Earthworm Jim, gave him a name, created all the bad guys in the whole game in 45 minutes, and brought it in that Monday to Shiny Entertainment. And that was my job interview. And I showed them Earthworm Jim, and they said it was weird because, this is before Earthworm Jim was Earthworm Jim.
Right.
So if you see him for the first time without an incredible game wrapped around him, that's how they saw him.
Right. That's true too.
Drawing. So and none of us could fully imagine the game that ended up coming out, 9 months later. So they saw it and just said, yeah, I think that's it. And you're hired. and I got a job making $80K a year, from just skids.
Wow. And
terrified of not being able to make it. And I more than doubled my dad's salary. My dad, who always said, like, you'll never make it in the arts and the only successful artists are dead artists. And that's what I heard my whole life. And suddenly he said, son, I think there might be something about this art stuff you've been your whole life. And I was 27 years old. That was just a real pivotal moment. So Earthworm Jim blew up, right? But I've been making Earthworm Jims every day since in my little sketchbooks.
You were saying that.
and no one knows about them. No one's seen them.
You were going through your art books, and it was absolutely phenomenal as you were showing. The sketches and stuff. You draw every day.
I just spew. I spew. That's all I do is spew creations and worlds and characters. That's just my happy place. It's like journaling for me, right? And no one will see 99.9% of what I create, but I think they're as good or better than Earthworm Jim.
Right.
So what is Earthworm Jim? It's way bigger, right, than anything I'll probably ever make since, unless I get really lucky again with Bigfoot Bill or who knows what.
Right.
I didn't plan on it being big when I made it. I was just trying to get an $80K a year job as an animator.
Yes. Well,
and that was, so it's weird because people come up to me at Comic-Con and they're crying. Like, this is the game my dad and I played on his deathbed. And before that moment, we'd never spoken a word to each other. We were, distant from my teens, and this put us back together. I mean, did I do that? I don't think so.
Wow.
But they tie the story to your character, so the character just has a life of its own. It just goes.
Yeah.
It was spread throughout the world. It was, in fact, my Indiegogo has one of the higher international funding from international people because Earthworm Jim was spread so far throughout Europe.
Yes.
And Poland and Russia and, it's in South America. That it has a huge international following. People come up to me, 100 video game people, top video game animators at Blizzard and all Telltale Games, and all these studios go, I got into games because of Earthworm Jim. So they keep pumping importance into it that obviously I didn't know about when I scratched this thing out on the piece of paper. And that's just very surreal. It's just, I don't know what to do with it. I only know when someone comes up to me and wants to meet the creator of Earthworm Jim, it's like me when I met Steven Spielberg, and he'd done a ton of movies since Jaws, and all I wanted to do was talk about Jaws. And he'd talk the hell out of that movie by then, right? He's like interested in his next thing.
Right.
Always, or Hook or whatever. And I'm just like, I know you have this new thing, but I want to talk about Jaws, that thing you made when you were 28. And he's like way over it.
Yeah.
Jaws would be Jaws when he was making it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what sobers me up is the fans, what they really want to do is they want you to help them, hold their hand and take them back to when they were 6. Mm-hmm. Or hold their hand when they were playing this thing in a dorm room with their friends smoking pot. Or going back to that great moment, when they didn't have a job and they played Earthworm Jim to pass the time. They want you to help take them back to that moment because that's what it means to them.
Yes.
Is it youth or sentimentality or back when, whatever. And that's like me with Jaws.
Right.
So I try, even though I've heard every story they come up to me with, most of them I've heard 1,000 times. Frankly, I'm bored. but I have to, just to be normal manners. Manners is what you do, whether if you feel like it or not.
Yes.
Normal manners is to show enthusiasm about their first time that they've met me and they want to share this story. And so I have to honor that as part of the responsibility of creating a mass media blockbuster. No. And I'm not always good at it. The 100th person at Comic-Con is going to probably get the wrong end of me.
Well, we're all humans after all. And I think sometimes people forget it.
So I've at the end of the con, I'm pretty bored, and the guy's telling me the story and I'm just nodding and I'm staring right through him.
What's for supper? I'm starving. Trade shows, you're always feeling worn out by the end. It's like a marathon.
So I stopped doing Comic-Cons for that reason. I stopped tabling and doing that. And I just find YouTube's a little funner. Mm-hmm. And what I end up always turning it around on the other person is they're there to talk to me and I'm there to interview them. Yeah. Because they're my Earthworm Jim that I've never seen before.
I love that.
I love it.
So
when we started interviewing last year, because we did cinematography, no one to ever be, we didn't even watch live streams and we didn't quite get it. It didn't click
We
with
didn't
me.
like live streams.
No. I didn't know what to do with them. We just
Yeah.
did it because we hit 1,000 subscribers or something fun, in that point. And everyone said, "Oh, you should do it again." And we're like, "Do what?" We did nothing. We just stumbled through a mess for 2 hours. We're like, "No, you guys are fun on screen." And we just started growing it from there. But I love the interaction. I love it. The click of a button at 2 a.m, I can have an audience of X number of people come on and just hang out with them. And I can learn, and I can talk, and I can pick up all these things. It's so instantaneous for great conversation if you want it. It's so amazing.
So did you always do a show at this hour, or did you start haphazardly and just do them whenever?
Kind of haphazardly, but we fell quickly. And last year we did it starting at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central. And then we moved it back because we're getting more and more people from Europe, and it's already at 7. It's midnight for England and continues on later. Sure. So it just seemed to be the right time. And YouTube really loves schedules. They really promote the hell of it because they see it as a series.
Yeah.
So, like if somebody's releasing videos, for instance, not live streams, and they're doing 2 a week, we always tell them, like, try to have it Monday and Wednesdays at 8 p.m. or whatever time works for you and keep that up because it really does favor the repetition.
Because my thing is, me with my show.
Yes, I love it.
I just throw an invite out to anybody at any time.
That is so cool.
And I've resisted doing the regular part of the show, but that probably is what I need next.
But like I tell people too, like say you have 7 shows a week and you can't always guarantee you're going to do them. Pick 2 a week that you're going to do regularly, Monday and Wednesday, and the other ones can be light for the time being. Then if you feel comfortable with 3, you can keep moving up. It's better because if you start messing it up once you have a schedule, then you can get punished by the AI.
Is that true?
Yeah.
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 That's jacked.
Yep, that's right. So you're better off starting smaller.
If you schedule a video and you don't go on, YouTube starts dinging you?
Well, if you do it like for a couple of times, because then you've built up a following. They all want us to basically be CBS. They want us to be Miami Vice to Thursday night, 8 o'clock. And they're rewarding you with extra push for doing that. So it's better off to start off small, 1 or 2 times a week that you can guarantee to be there. Because say you do Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays for 5 weeks, and then Friday starts falling apart, and you can't do it, and you're late, then it can start to kind of hurt you in the algorithm.
Weird.
Yeah.
So you have to throw your whole life in or none.
Pretty much, yes. So it's better to commit a smaller part of it and keep the other ones free time.
Yeah.
And then say, like, okay, it's been 5 weeks. This is running good. I'm going to introduce another solid time each week.
I do in general have, say, 11 a.m. Central.
Yes.
If I did that, is that a bad time because everyone's at work and they may not watch your show until after work?
That you'd have to look at your. I'm going to let Xenia handle
No,
that.
yeah, it really depends on your audience. Where are they from? What is their age, and so on. Like it really depends on your own audience because ours might be different than yours. So you would have to look at your analytics and see what is the time that they most often come to you.
So I can look at my analytics and look at the highest spike in the time zone. I might need to go over that with you guys offline sometime.
Oh, definitely, anytime.
And I'll share a screen on my analytics and you can explain it all to me because I don't know what I'm seeing.
Oh, anytime. Yeah, sometimes it feels like you need to know like high math or something to understand everything that's going on there for sure. But it's really customized to each channel. Sometimes people want just copy paste everything. Well, I'll just do everything the same as that other guy.
Yeah.
But that just doesn't work,
Yeah. So I could probably do every day, Monday through Friday, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone online now so much while I draw that when I go to the table and draw without the camera on, I feel funny.
It's addictive, isn't it?
It is very, very strange how socially you reorganize yourself. The other thing, I don't know if you get this, but I've done so much live streams now since August 1st, almost every day, that when the camera's off, I feel like the camera's on. I'm always checking myself. If I pick my nose, I real quick look and see, was that on the air? Do you feel like you're on the air even when you're off?
Sometimes, yes, I know, because the camera is always here, and sometimes I feel that it's on, although it's not, and yes, same thing.
Yeah.
It becomes a part of our lives because we do live streams so often. It's kind of like integral part of it, of the everyday thing, for sure.
Yeah. So Ksenia, what's the number one thing you'd recommend to me if I have a channel that has I have a good following? What's the number one thing I should do as the next step on my YouTube channel? I've got 5,300 subscribers and pretty good, attendance, maybe 700 views on a live, 400 views on a live, 400 to 700 views when I go live. What should I do first? And like, I don't even have the card at the end of the show that says, if you like this show, look at these episodes. I don't even have one of those.
I mean, it really depends where you want it to go, so to say. And then,
I want it to go bigger.
That's too general.
Ksenia, I want to take over the world.
Oh, well then.
What's my world domination? What's my first step of my world domination?
Optimize your channel. It's interesting. Obviously, it is all about content, and mainly the first thing is content on any channel. But as much as it could be the best content ever, YouTube still likes a lot of technical stuff, all that metadata and best practices and all that in order to grow. After when you grow to a certain point, that it really doesn't matter as much. But in the process of growing, it really is very tediously checking all your best practices, thumbnails, and all that stuff, boring stuff that we do. So that's definitely something I would be doing if you don't. With all the thumbnails and things like that, and scheduling, as Andrew was saying, for sure.
Pardon me, I feel that was my moment. I was yes, Montreal is cold tonight, but something must have changed. I had a sweatshirt on. I'm like, oh my god, if I don't change something soon, I'm gonna either be a puddle.
I'm gonna burst, spontaneously combust.
So the wife got tired. I thought that's my out. So I apologize for rushing. I just had to go change.
What made you go to YouTube?
Yes.
I started reading the metrics on the size of the audience, on the number of people who, because so last July, a year ago, I ended my work on the Netflix VeggieTales series. So that's through Netflix and DreamWorks. That was 4 years work. We did an episode a week, an 11-minute episode a week for 4 years. So it's 52 episodes.
Wow.
So I was talking a lot with DreamWorks and Netflix about what was and wasn't working about the show. And then I looked, and they were all bragging on Netflix about how people aren't watching network anymore. And of course, I hadn't watched network for years. And they're saying like people are migrating to Netflix now, is where more and more people are going. And they said on a little tiny asterisk going, but people are starting to move off of Netflix and go onto YouTube.
That's right.
Very true.
And I went, wait a minute. So I started looking up the metrics on the number of subscribers and the amount of time that consumers are actually spending on YouTube. And it dwarfs every other form of entertainment today.
Yep.
So it's like 2.8 billion users worldwide. So I just thought to myself, of me as a little kid, I have a letter that I wrote to myself in 6th grade that my teacher sent back to me when I was in college. And it said,
wow.
When I grow up, I want to animate for Walt Disney Studios. Back in 1977, I wrote that letter. And my trajectory has gone through animation. And I realized I didn't want to animate because I didn't want to draw 24 frames per second of a character walking across the room. I wanted to tell a story of why the character walked across the room. So I did comics, which is ripping out all those in-betweens and just doing the need-to-know information.
Right.
And so this was another aspect of that where I said, my biggest frustration growing up, right before the internet, was I'm a good creator. How do I get my stuff seen, right? None of us had access to,
Right.
There were gatekeepers on TV, in movies, and you were begging some executive to approve your work before they would show it to the masses.
Right.
And I've sold a number of my books into Hollywood, like big giant movie deals on some of my books, millions of dollars, and they didn't make the movie.
Yes.
So I always wanted this story. You know, my print runs are maybe 5,000 copies. And I want to tell my story to millions of people. So how am I going to do that? And then YouTube came along. I just didn't, for years, YouTube existed. I didn't even believe what it was. My friend said, oh, it's free. And you can do your own shows. I'm like, BS. And I'd look at YouTube, and I was watching YouTube shows all the time, and I didn't understand even what was going on with the culture of what the thing actually is. And then those numbers in that meeting struck me when Netflix felt threatened by YouTube.
Yeah.
And I went, I've been given a free broadcast network. It's free.
That's right.
And I can do anything I want, and it goes around the world. It's like, Doug, this is your dream. and also as a Christian, I thought of the Apostle Paul. All he would do is like stand on a soapbox in the marketplace and preach to say whatever crowd showed up. Maybe 100 people, maybe 200. So I thought as a Christian, I've been given, this is Apostle Paul's wet dream. I'm like, to share his story, the good news to people and encourage them and stuff. So at first I thought, what I want to do is like an animated series, but there's no way I could put out that amount of animation to do a daily show. It's too time consuming,
right,
and too much work. So, and I started seeing all these YouTubers, they're just throwing up a camera and just talking. I'm going, I can do that. Like there's no money. It doesn't cost me anything. In many of my shows, I'm just drawing online, and that's the main thing is I need to be drawing while I do my show, which is not a great show, by the way.
I love that. I think that's so amazing, by the way.
It is for comics people, but to the people who aren't into that, they may not be as into it, right? But I'm already going to work. So if I just put a camera on it, it's something entertaining, and that's about as good as I'm going to do. But I can do it for free, and I can do it every day.
Yes.
That's what made me decide to do YouTube, is me, just like this, in front of a camera, talking, preferably working. So I'm actually working on a project that's trying to make money, and just talking about that, and then inviting some wacky friends to fill in the dead space. And that's my plan.
But I think it's so, like, I'm not into the scene, and I'm enthralled by the way you guys do it. The art. One thing I've learned is whether you play drums or guitar or you paint or you draw or you sing or all those arts, people are fascinated to watch. There's like a natural, God, I wish I could do that effect comes with it. And yes, it won't attract to everybody, but nothing does on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And maybe sometimes you have to do one like that and the other one without, and breaking it up, but you do already. That's a good mix for people, because I feel people can get lost into it. Just watching you draw it's almost like the fish tank channels. Yeah. And that's not in a bad way. It's got a calming, soothing effect to it. Right.
And I've interviewed Patricia Heaton from The Middle, and Everybody Loves Raymond.
I'm going to share that right now. I have it queued up and everything, so as you're talking, they can see it without volume.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Next week, I'm getting Amit Zappa is an old friend of mine. He's coming on. I'm friends with Doug Jones and stuff.
Nice.
Abe Sapien. So I'm getting these guys on, and it just works. It's like, so I'll interview people. It's still very dumb and casual, but people smell that authenticity. They smell that it's one human being. Because I ask my guests questions no one else asks.
Right.
Like I just talk to them about. I'll flat out tell people, like, who did you vote for? Or how much money do you make a year? I'll ask these things, not to be rude, but it's because I think this is what people want to know.
Like, you're right.
To be, or I'll have a guy yesterday he's oil fracking. I'm like, what's fracking like?
Yes, I've seen that.
Like, how long are you out in the field away from your family? Why did you take that job? Just like you asked me, why did you pick YouTube? That's what people want to know. That's the cheddar.
I used to work in the oil fields out in Saskatchewan where they were fracking. Cool. Yeah, I used to be a truck driver out there for a while after the music business. So,
how cool! Yeah, that's fascinating to me, because fracking is a job I'll never do.
No,
and it's interesting, right? It's like that world. What's the culture like? What are the men like? What's the commute like?
Well, yeah, there's so many faucets to anything. I think that we had a guy on here when we first started doing this. His name was Muskie Hans, and he's a guy who does a fishing channel from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Nice guy. I mean, he has a regular job, not a big channel. And we get talking to him. Within 5 minutes, we find out that he has a doctorate in soil sciences. And he spent the next 10 minutes talking about how he did his dissertation on saline samples and blah, blah, blah. And I'm looking, nobody's talking, and I'm like, oh, God, we lost them. They're really hating this one.
Yeah.
Nobody left. Everybody found it so fascinating to find out he had this whole other side that nobody's seen coming. They were riveted. And I thought, this is it. This is what we want this channel to be. It's happening right before our eyes.
Yeah. Look at reality television. We watch Odd Jobs, and we watch My 800-Pound Life, and we watch Duck Dynasty, Rednecks. It's like people want a window into someone else's life.
That's right. And YouTube gives them that actual truest experience of it. Because like me going up to change my shirt a minute ago, that doesn't happen on any kind of television, even reality. Right. There's a set call, you know.
That's my favorite thing to do on my show is when I have to go to the bathroom. I go, guys, take over. I have to go to the bathroom. I'm going to go make me a coffee. I'm going to make a coffee, guys, take over. And my other favorite show is the one where I had like 8 minutes of silence because I couldn't figure out my microphone for the first 8 minutes. It became one of my most popular shows, and everyone said, I'm going to edit this out. They go, no, don't edit it out. It was like me. I ended up cutting some parts of it because it was just so long, but there's a huge chunk of silence still there of me just raging at my computer in silence.
But that's that humor you're talking about losing the money. Yeah. That's the funny part of it. It's the tragedy.
Yeah, and the chat's just unleashing on me, just going like, oh man, what are you doing on YouTube and stuff? And I would read their chats with the sound off, and I was just crying, laughing.
Oh my God.
So awesome.
Well, look at our favorite movies, Chevy Chase and all those guys. What's the favorite part is when everything goes to hell and the classical music's playing, the roller coaster is all smashing in front of your eyes. That's the most amazing moments, is that tragedy, that over the top, cartoonistic, like when you were losing the money. It's not you lost. If it had been $200, it probably would have bothered you. But because it was a big jump, it was almost cartoonish laugh.
Yeah, it went absurd. Yes. It was so fast. And watching them just going like, just crashing. I'm just, it was funny.
But that's savoring the moments. And there is magic in all those moments. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
You were talking about your dad back. I meant to ask you this a while. Oh, you have questions too, I'm sure.
No, it's okay.
Just ask us one last thing. You were saying about your dad at first, wasn't sure about if it was a good thing, and then once you got some money, you reevaluated.
Yeah.
Did they support your art, though, growing up? And not that they're bad parents.
No, not at all. They were great parents, and they didn't give me one lick of support on the art.
Right. Because they were practical people, I'm sure, and that's hard with them.
Very practical. Just I was the boy from another planet, man. Yeah. They didn't know what to do with me. And my dad is ex-military and just a supervisor of construction. And my mom was a teacher's aide and, went to church. And just I was this guy who just I always just made my own puppets and put on my own shows. And I was either really quiet or I was running the room.
Right.
So I was either like in my corner all alone for weeks at a time, or I'd come out and just, just have a full body bounty hunter costume on that I made out of cardboard and like walking around, just walk out in front of all their friends,
Well,
so.
I come from a small town as well, and that's something I dealt with a lot because I was into heavy metal music. I had the longer hair. Yeah. Yes, I worked on a farm. I did all that stuff. But I wasn't the guy walking around singing Alan Jackson and wanting to have a house by 23 and married. I wanted to get out. I knew what I wanted. I didn't hate it. I liked the values of it, but I felt like a caged bird. So I was wondering if you maybe felt that way as well.
Yeah, I did. I knew I had to get out of that town.
Yeah.
It was when I was in my senior year of high school and I was looking for a job. Now this is in 84. So unemployment was really high at the time, but I applied for a job at McDonald's as a grill cook, and my friend was a manager and said there were 120 applicants for a grill cook. So I knew I had to get out of that town because I just looked around at what art jobs there were. There were none. Yeah. Like I think I talked to one art director in Modesto, which is the next town over, which is where George Lucas is from.
Oh, okay.
And so that's the middle California. So I just knew And so Point Loma Nazarene College is a Christian school down in San Diego, and I wanted to be a fine art major. I wanted to do painting. I was going to be the artist. And I just went there and just took off, just took over. I took over the college and I took over the art major, and I just painted the heck out of things. And I was it's like being freed, not only out from where I was being my own man for the first time, like really able to pick how I wanted to dress and how long I wanted my hair and all that. And I had long hair too. And I just had to kind of find myself.
Yeah.
And I always retained my values, those small town farm values. But the art side of me was just set on fire, the creativity side.
Yeah.
And I had to get out of that town. So I get it. But the dirt of that town and the respect of those people is very deep inside me. So it's still there. It's still there. And it really is what separates me from a lot of other artists, where I'm known as just like a workaholic with the most insane work ethic, speed of doing pages and doing projects, just banging out projects all the time. They're all, where'd you get that? I go, I got that by working for Foster Farms in a feed mill. Like, you could not sit around and lean against your broom because I didn't want to dishonor my dad's name.
No.
He worked at that same company, and so that was Ed's son.
Right.
And never wanted to be the lazy guy. And my dad would say one time, like it almost brought tears to his eyes. He said, Doug, one of the other workers told me that you really hustled when you worked. And he said, I just want you to know that's one of the proudest things I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
Like, that is where I learned how to draw like a mofo. Not in art school where everyone's laying around all entitled about what the world owes, or I'm doing this because it's easy. And there's also a sobriety that comes with it, where you go, if I fail at the arts, all I'm qualified to do is go out there and dig ditches.
Yeah.
So there's also kind of, this is how I avoid those jobs, is by being really good at this.
Right.
Is my A plan, you know?
I that was what I was saying before about my kids and the Renaissance man ideas. I don't want them going into a boardroom with rubber boots on, dancing on the tails, but I don't want them going to the farm saying "old cow poopy." There's a time and place for everything, and versatility is so key, because you're always meeting people of all different levels and keys, and you want them to be able to feel it out, interact, not be fake. There's a difference between fake and knowing appropriate time and place, and that gives them a real life skill.
Right. Paying your dues when things are uncomfortable and you have to sweat through it. Like, being military men are that way.
Yep.
Coal miners and oil workers are that way.
Yep.
Fast food workers are that way. Like, and I tell my kids, I go, I hope you get a really crappy job one day, like one that you just hate.
Yep.
I hope that for you. And I hope it's not when you're 50.
No, because then it's too late to learn the lesson.
I hope it's when you're 16, 17, 18, or in college, having to pay for something you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Because that is where you learn the stuff that keeps you going.
That's true.
When everyone else quits. That's what I hope for them.
Well, kids today don't get to see a lot of that negative side. Like, our son is 12, our oldest one is 21. And my daughter's 7. They have chores every day, and it's not just like, I picked up a piece of paper, and it's not all for money with their hands stuck out. I want them to learn to work, not work them to the bone, but learn that you don't have to have 5 cents put in your hand every time you lift something around here. It's part of your house too. You have duties.
Oh, I totally bribe my kids to do everything. I'm all for bribery. I'm like, you know what? The rest of your life, when you have a paycheck, that's technically bribery.
That is true, though. You are right. You are right with that. You are 100%
right. I will pay you for excellence, just like the world will, and you will get punished with no money, and no opportunities, and no video games, just like the world will.
And our kids do get money, for the record, before I get angry parents in the chat coming back. They do get money from us. Just once in a while, I'll do the odd job without it, just to kind of remind them that you still got to pull your weight. No matter what you're getting out of it, it's you got to take some responsibility.
At the same time, your son self-published his book.
Yes.
Yes, he did. My son Ed made his first book. That was something that he learned in school. They were trying to teach them how to raise money for the school. And so they were each to make their own project that was profitable, was the rule. And so he decided to make a book, an advice book, on how to survive the 8th grade. He's a 9th grader. He was going to give some advice to 8th graders. And it's real funny, you know, has like half of them are serious and half of them are jokey, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I taught him how to go to Kinko's and make his own material and copy it and staple it and go around and sell it. He made 100 copies. He made $100 for the school. And he sold 50 of them in 2 days. He went around the campus. They all went nuts for it.
That's awesome. That's so
that it was an important lesson. And I said, Ed, when you're ready to go pro with this, we'll take this out to Indiegogo. We'll make you some real money.
You never know. He's got a lot of his dad in him.
Yeah, I can make.
Oh yeah, I'm trying.
Yeah. So, even the way the book about the humor mixed with this, like it's like I'm seeing some Doug in all of this.
Yeah,
he's also the kid from another planet. So just I was the kid from another planet to my dad. My son walked in. He's a total mystery to me.
That means he's destined for great things.
Yeah, you never know.
That's right. Do you want to get some questions? Because I feel bad. I keep sidetracking you on them.
Yeah, I have some questions. Well, mostly it's appreciation words and thank yous for all the inspiration and influence you have had on people. So I'll just read some of them and some questions. There was a question: do you have any suggestions for up and coming artists?
Sure. You know, I have so many. That's a novel, but the big thing for up and coming artists is I really believe in showing your loyalty to the craft before you expect someone else to pay for it. How's that?
Mm-hmm.
So
that makes sense.
You have to put a lot of time and effort into it. And this goes to the warning that Pusa and I were already talking about is it's very easy for artists to show up and think, I'm an artist. I'm an artist. I'm an up and comer. I'm a director. I'm a writer. Mm-hmm. And I learned from Chuck Jones, one of the greatest animation directors of all time, who did Bugs Bunny, always said, art is not a title you can give to yourself. It's something other people have to give to you. That was a rule that he had that I always thought was very interesting. Because it's very easy to go around and call yourself an artist, and you'll start to act like an artist and look like an artist and put on the affections of an artist and be all deep and dress weird. But you don't produce anything and no one wants what you make. Right. You know, so for an up and comer, I would just say, like, be ready to pay your dues. I'm 52 years old. And every time I start a new project, it's like being constantly unemployed. I'm still constantly unemployed. And you're always shaking down some new project or some new thing. And it's not like your parents who have a regular salary and insurance and a family. I have a family, and the bills come no matter what. That's right. Right? Whether if you make money or not, the bills come. So, and I always say I'm willing to I always told my wife, you know, if you marry me, I may not be rich, but I will always have a roof over your head. And if I have to leave the arts, I will, if that's what it takes. Yes. Wow. Because there's always a hierarchy of priorities. And we're kind of taught by culture that art is just the highest priority there is. It's not. Yeah. Human beings are higher. There's all kinds of other things that are families higher, you know. But at the same time, I mean, I always thought that if I didn't make it professionally, I would always do art. Yes, it would always be an artist. Yes. So even if I went out and worked in those coal mines, I'd come home and I'd draw, just like I always did before I got paid to do Earthworm Jim. I was doing that for tens of thousands of hours before. Wow. That's my big advice. Is kind of buckle up. Get ready. Be careful what you wish for. Because anything that you base it, same as a musician or anything, when you base it on something that's emotionally attached to you, like art, you have to be ready for the criticisms and all. It's not just you didn't get the job at McDonald's, but it can be like, we don't like what you do. And that can be very hard for a lot of people to deal with, the rejection. Yeah. And even now, I've had a ton of success and I still don't know the formula. I know good principles, but it's not like I can sit down and go, this 100% is going to work. Yep. I don't know that. And I have to look at my wife and say, I'm going to spend a lot of time in the studio away from the family working on this scam. And there may be nothing to show for it. Like, so it's kind of
it's prospecting. It's the same as a gold prospector.
Yeah, exactly.
Or,
yeah, you can't win if you don't go out and try.
Yep, but there's no guarantees.
But most of what you try is not going to work. And even on my pitches, I pitch 99 stories for every one that gets picked up.
Yeah.
It's not like I just pitch something and boom. You got to pitch a lot. And every once in a while you'll shake down something lucky. So you have to get in the discipline of constantly creating, constantly selling in a sales mode of presenting it in an enthusiastic way, even the 100th time you say it. And you just hope the right person sees it at the right time.
Yeah.
What is your secret for pitching? Like, what is your go-to
Oh, yeah.
thing?
I'm known as the king of pitch.
Share your secrets.
Everybody pay attention to this one because it's the same thing in YouTube. So.
Yeah. My first pitch is I always put myself in the executive's shoes that I'm pitching to. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to get myself in their head. So think about what an executive does all day. They're shallow. They're bored. They've probably had 10 pitches already that were many of them terrible. So my job is to make them comfortable. Mm. I want to make them comfortable to say no even, because I don't want it to be some giant crisis if they turn me down, because they won't invite me back in again if I mentally abuse them.
Yes.
For turning me down. And that's the thing, that's the key, is I develop relationships with the people I pitch to. So I've pitched to the same people in studios for 30 years. And when that executive loses their job and their assistant comes up, because I treat people well, even the people that get me coffee are often the ones that I talk to the most and interview the most and show the most respect to. When they become that executive, they remember me.
That's
very
right.
True.
Very true.
It's treat all people like they're on the top rung, like they're on the bottom rung, like they're on the top. You know what I mean? Treat them with great humanity and interest, and just realize they're not there to make you money.
Yeah.
So like that's the problem with pitching, is I've got this idea and I just have to trick these people into picking up my show. Wrong.
That's right.
It's when I walk in, my attitude is, this is the best work I can do. I'm here to make you look smart and make you money. I don't say that, but that's the language that I'm using. I'm always using that language to tilt it in their direction, to make them feel smart. And if they pick this up, they're going to make money and look good, look smart. Mm. That's what your pitch should do.
Yep. Doesn't
matter what you feel about your pitch or what you like about your pitch. That's its actual job. And the other job is, it's not to actually do a series. That's another weird thing.
Right.
Not to actually get your thing picked up. It's to get them to buy it.
Yeah. So
oftentimes people spend a whole lot of time as if it's going to actually get made. And they're like, this is the my 4-season arc. And here's my phone book of scripts for the first season. That never happens. That's not how they get shows made. Yeah. They buy your idea and they hire like a whole crew of people to work on it, including writers that are probably better than you. And so my job is to get them to buy it. And then the second stage is, now what are we going to do with it? But right. Buying it is the tough part.
Yeah.
Once they buy it, they go, oh, you're the guy that created it. You want to be involved? So don't go into it as if you're going to be the guy that is going to write everything and direct everything, which is often how people pitch things. They get too close to their own material and they don't realize the way things are actually made by giant teams of people.
Yes.
So those are my bigger principles. My general rules are, executives hate reading things. They hate detail.
Yeah.
So no more than 5 pages to a pitch.
The gist.
Yeah, usually I do 3 pages of pictures and 2 pages of text. And I don't think they've ever read the 2 pages of text, unless they're really, really interested in going, this thing could work. Right. Then they're going to go into the back study and they're going to ask you, do you have episodes? Then you give them your episodes.
Right.
You always want to leave them wanting more. You want them to ask questions. If they're bored and they're glazed over, get out of that meeting as soon as possible.
Yeah.
I'll walk in often with a show idea that'll be just like, this one is called the Monkey Twins. And they'll go, oh, we just bought a big monkey show and we're not looking for monkeys. And I go, oh, okay. Well, you know, I'll pitch it real quick. I'll do like a 30-second pitch. Well, just a quick overview of this, you know, so you can put a pin in it. And then I'll move on to go, well, I'd like to bring you something else. Yeah. What are you looking for? And that's the best question you can ask.
Right.
Is you may have liked this or not, but if you pitch to enough people, like 10 people in a season, you'll get a real good overview of what everyone's looking for. They all say the same thing, but they'll all kind of, and you don't give them what they're looking for, by the way, because they don't really know what they're looking for. But
right. You're leading
what they think they're looking for, and then you can translate into what's actually good.
Yes, that's right. That's where the collaboration effect comes in.
Yeah.
We have a gentleman in here, Green Bay Wacky. He has a channel and he made a kids show in the early 2000s. He went through the whole, I didn't know this till recently. And he went through the whole pitching process, a lot of money, kind of got led, you know, a lot of people get involved and stuff like that. And, oh, I'll take it to the top. No, I'll take it to the top. And that could be hard too, because everybody's kind of eating away at your capital and not really getting the results, but you don't want to miss that boat. And that's what they pry onto.
Yeah, and that's another problem with pitching now versus when I started in the early 90s. In the early 90s, you talk to the guy who was in charge. Like when I pitched Earthworm Jim to Universal, that was Sid Sheinberg I pitched it to, the guy that gave Steven Spielberg his start. And it was a table full of like 13 men in suits around the table. And I pitched it and they just pounded their fist on the table. We'll take 13 episodes, like at the meeting. Now you pitch to an assistant because the guy that actually makes the decision never looks at the pitch the first time. And then the assistant goes and tells it to some other mid-level manager and explains your idea to them in the worst way possible, I'm sure, with no enthusiasm, and says, do you want to see this? And they'll say, yeah, bring him in, or no, that's dumb. And then it goes up to the next guy. You know what I mean? Like now pitching it's just not legit anymore.
Yes.
So more and more, that's when I started doing more graphic novels. The graphic novel is the pitch because I don't have to be in the room. They read it. And they see the movie or they see the TV series, and they'll buy them cold just like that.
That's awesome. Yeah, because you've done it and you have more control over the work and it's fun. Because Sean from Panic D Videos was just asking, do you ever have times where they've stolen your ideas and ran with them or stuff like that?
Never.
Never?
The reason why they can't do that, and that's another bad move that a lot of beginners I see, they'll come to me and say, will you look at my idea? I'm like going, I really don't do that. I can't. And they go, well, if you ever choose to, you know, here's an NDA for you to sign, a non-disclaimer agreement. I'm like, that is the dumbest move I've ever seen in my life. Like you're already basically accusing me of stealing your idea and you just want to show it to me.
Yeah.
So Hollywood in general doesn't steal ideas, and here's why. What would it cost for me to buy any idea from you?
Yeah.
Like if you came up with Yoko the Flower, what would it cost me as a studio? Usually they can buy ideas for $10,000.
I was right on, and I know that from Seinfeld, from when they were doing the pitch. I remember that number, 10,000 in my head. For
10 grand, 20 grand.
Yeah,
I've sold stuff for $5 grand. Now, if they steal your idea, this is why conspiracies are almost never true. Think of what they would have to pull off that conspiracy. Okay. They're going to steal. Their goal is to steal an idea.
Right.
They saw you pitch it. Their assistant who brought you coffee and water saw you pitch it. You probably showed it to some friends who know that you pitched it. So there's all these eyewitnesses that you created this intellectual property. And they're going to lift this property that is magic and amazing. They're going to risk their entire career on stealing this amazing gold that you brought in. And if you sue them, and with those eyewitnesses, they call them in to confirm that they did indeed steal your idea, you can ask almost any amount of money you want from that studio. Usually those kinds of lawsuits settle for about $50 million. Why would they risk $50 million when they can buy the idea from you for what they spend on cocaine that day at lunch? That's why. And it just, it's kind of the wrong, and by the way, I have seen ideas out there that were just almost dead on to stuff I've pitched. I just won't let myself think that they stole it. I just go, well, that's simultaneous development.
Because that'd be another part too. If you go against them, you don't have the money to try and back up that it is.
Yeah.
You'll bankrupt yourself.
Yeah, the people, they never win those lawsuits, man. Those studios try to countersue, so it's very rarely that a creator has actually confirmed that something was stolen. I don't know if any of them that were even won. That $50 million lawsuit was for an artist who made a sculpture that appeared in Batman 2 in the Gotham City Square. He didn't give permission to use his artwork.
Right.
And he just said, you owe me.
Yeah.
Wow.
He just made a ton of money. It's very, very rare that they win those. And it's not a common practice that executive, he'd only do it once.
Yeah.
And he'd probably never have his job. So execs do not steal ideas.
And most likely for the one who's doing the suing can get blacklisted out of getting business, getting any work as well. Then they're looked at as trouble.
Yeah. And so any one of my shows that came out or got bought by a studio, almost every one of them had about 5 lawsuits launched against the studio that I stole their idea.
Wow.
So to the studio, it's a joke. It's automatic. That any movie that comes out, there's a ton of lawsuits being launched that it was stolen from someone.
Right.
So it doesn't wash. It's just they know that in general, that's not what happens.
We have somebody who frequents our channel. Her name's Mother Nature, and she writes this every time we're in, and you're included. So it says, if no one has told you lately, you're awesome, and you're doing a great job, Pusa Studios and Doug TenNapel.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Thank you.
Thought that would be an uplifting little thing for you. So
what a kind thing to say. I love those comments.
And she does that in every live stream she goes into. At some point, at somewhere, that she always puts that in. I love seeing that. So I just wanted to...
Yeah, that's awesome. That's good stuff. Good people.
Yes, I agree.
We have a very excited Anima Flex Animations who just couldn't get over what he was seeing today on our interview. So he was asking, how do I get rid of art block? I'm actually suffering from this more and more, and it starts to become overwhelming.
Okay. That's a little tough for me because I generally don't have art block. I do get in moods where I don't want to draw. So that might be what they're feeling.
Yeah.
Is it they know they should draw or they should write and they don't want to write, right?
Yeah. How do you step over that?
A lot of times we call that art block, but that's not an actual block, all right? That's just boredom or angry at the tedium. I'm okay with taking breaks, although I rarely do. Like for instance, at the end of a comic, the last quarter of it, I'm done with the comic. I hate it. And I still have to finish it.
Yeah.
So that goes down to getting good at doing things you don't want to do, which I learned at that job. So number one, you should try to power through it and just sit down because discipline is your way out of most problems.
Yeah.
Working your way out of it is probably better. Number one would be take a break. So yeah, that's totally fine. You don't want to write, you don't want to draw. Quit pressuring yourself to write and draw. Okay, the world's not going to end. It's not waiting for this thing that you're panicking about, and you need to release it. All right, get away from it. Go do something else that interests you.
Yeah.
Preferably not media, though.
Yes.
Like go hang with friends and have a drink. Go spend time with family, have a meal. Go do something besides media. Go for a walk in the woods. Something that gets you out of your element is very good. Come schedule a time, go back to the studio and try again the next day, go to work, or the next 2 days or whatever, go to work. So that's one thing, is take a break. Number two, power through it, because you have to tell yourself that as a pro, you have to perform no matter what. You're not, when you're on a deadline and you have to write a script and it's due at a certain day and they've paid you $70,000 for the script, you got to do it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You got to sit down and do it. So you have to learn how to fake good work even when you're not into it.
Yep.
And I think most of us can do that.
Yep.
It's no different than when you give someone a smile who comes up and says hi to you and you're having a terrible day and you don't want to bleed all over them. You fake happiness for them all the time.
Yeah, that's so true.
So fake enthusiasm at your art table. Be fake. That's my number 2 is power through it. Be fake and do it.
We do some weddings, and I don't. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. No, please continue.
And then number 4, look at art that's better than you that you aspire to be like, because sometimes they will unlock something that will give you an idea to either copy or mimic, or you'll go, aha, and you might be excited about applying that to your work. So that might bring excitement back to it. Those are my 3 steps, 3 advice that I would give. It seems like it would make sense.
Amazing. Yeah, the last one I use oftentimes when I'm stuck doing photography and I'm editing something and I just can't get myself to finish, and that's exactly what I do. I go to my heroes in photography, so to say, and I look at their work, and oftentimes it switches that button. Okay, I have.
Yeah, if you're a photographer and you're looking at Ann Leibovitz or Ansel Adams, and you're not moved. You're not thinking, what lens did he use? What process did they use? Look at that composition. I'll bet I could do that. That should work.
Yeah,
definitely. I never told you. I don't think that Xenia, she represented Quebec, our province, 2 years ago for Canada's 150th anniversary.
Cool.
Her picture was recognized by National Geographic to represent Quebec. She was voted one of the top 20 up and coming photographers, and yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Congratulations. That's so cool.
Well, thank you. Thank you. We have some more questions, so I just don't want to waste time on me. We have questions from chat. Green Bay Mackie was asking, in today's market, getting back to the pitching, do you have any suggestions where a person would pitch a completed animated preschool movie that has won awards? Like it's done and completed. Would there be a different way now to do it?
I mean, I would go to Netflix. I mean, first of all, putting it online is a good idea because they're looking for stuff, and that's a great way to get stuff out. Stalk them on LinkedIn to find out if you can friend them or like them and get them to friend back.
Right.
You might be able to chat to them. The problem is the gatekeeping is meant to keep people out.
Yes.
It really is. And it's good because it keeps about 8,000 bad ideas from coming in. So they can't spend their time just open because everyone's in love with their own show. I do know that all of the majors, Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, are dying for preschool material. So at least that's where you want to go, is a place where that sucking sound is coming for your thing. And having no words, by the way, is still fantastic.
Yes.
I don't have any more advice than that. I don't know how you'd break through that wall. It seems like you could probably find someone on LinkedIn or on Facebook or through a search, executives who work at Netflix, and you could probably get their email and cold email a link to them. But that's just not a good way to go because they tend not to look at unsolicited materials. So you might have to get an agent, and that's just its own ritual. Who knows? Getting an agent, because agents can present stuff, unsolicited material.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Well,
So sorry about that. I don't have many answers. I only know.
No, but still, it's an insight into it. I mean,
definitely.
any answer's a great answer. I truly.
I know they're
that.
looking for what you have. They're all over Comic-Con. They're all over conventions. They're looking for IP. So even if you just buy a booth, you might get lucky. But it's getting lucky. It's getting seen.
It's hard. I mean, I worked for that music company, and we did endorsements all the time. And it's very sad to see so many people come in, and I already know what the answer I had to give them was.
Yeah.
And not people that just walked off the street. There was a band, Helix, from the 80s. Give me an R, give me an O, give me a C, Rock You.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're a Canadian band. And they brought me their greatest hits, and it was filmed in Thunder Bay, Ontario, and they tried to hide it with the cameras, but when they turned it, it's like a legion, and 3/4 of that is empty.
Yeah.
Now, these guys toured all over, and what's it like for me to sit there and say to them, you don't cut it anymore? It's the hardest thing you tell somebody. It's one thing is when they haven't made it yet, but to sit there and say you made it and it's gone, like, you know, it's a crushing. That's why I was saying a while ago, but when people are mostly connected to their art, it's not just like, well, you're not pressing the steel right anymore. You're getting to, it's a part of you that we can't use anymore, and it's cold.
Yeah, at least see it from the point of view of the executive. Like I said, get your head in their head. Because if they were washed up and they came to you as an exec and said, look, we know we're washed up and we want to do a show about how we're washed up musicians, you go, hey, maybe. You know what I mean? Like if they can get into your head the way you think, instead of they're in their own head thinking you're buying all of their BS.
That's right.
It's not a good combo to not be very sober and be a very sober editor of yourself and step outside of yourself to look at what you're really pitching and what the strong points are and make connection with the people you're pitching to.
And that's a very dangerous part with YouTube, because we are kind of our own gatekeeper. And that can be a danger sometimes, because you can really let out some very bad content because you have nobody buffering you, you know?
Oh yeah. I have terrible shows. I just have terrible shows on my YouTube channel. Some of them are they're dog episodes. And I was just trying something, you know, I was experimenting or something. They're way back there buried in the archives, but they're there. I just want to see, you know, what would happen if I read poetry by my pond.
Yeah.
And I did that. I did.
But it's a liberating feeling for somebody like you that worked most of their life in controlled media. It must feel liberating to be able to try these.
I tried a cooking show. I did one of those, you know, those meals that you cook live, and I had my son hold the camera and I cooked everything and talked to the camera and put that up as an episode.
I love it.
I'm going to cook blah, blah, chicken tarragon. I go, I hear cooking shows are big. So I'm going to try cooking just one episode and just to see what the traffic does.
Well, you never know before you try. That's
You
right.
got to throw it to the wall and see if it sticks.
Yeah.
You know, we're constantly doing that on our show. We've been upping. We added new mics. We added new mixers. So we didn't do everything at once. And then we started adding OBS. And then we started adding Zoom. And it's been all this. And it's still, I always say YouTube is a garden. You can't just throw the seeds in and walk away. It needs constant tending. And the things change, like we were saying with our titles. We're doing the complete, utter opposite of what we did 6 months ago because the algorithm doesn't like what we did anymore.
Yeah.
Like your title tonight, we had to do it Earthworm Jim because it's a huge search tag.
That's right.
Then it was your name and then our channel. But last year would have been Pusa Studios Presents.
That's right.
Doug TenNapel, because I want to say it right now. Now I'm starting to stutter on it.
TenNapel. Put the ape in there.
Yeah, that's right. I'm pushing it. Creator of Earthworm Jim. But that doesn't fly anymore. They don't want that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I gotta. So they're not doing complete sentences anymore. They're just breaking up content.
They want it in the reverse of search. Now they want the highest search order words at the first on that, and then they go down from there.
Yeah.
Where last year was the opposite. They were kind of at the end. So they, you know, it's just the AI was trained to do certain things, but it's also trained to grow. And now they have to learn how the AI is looking at things and where it sees it going.
Yeah, yeah, that's brilliant. I was saying, we need to have an offline talk about all that stuff.
Yes,
definitely.
Yeah, I was saying.
Titles, back ends.
If you want to even do it sometime with your followers, if a lot of them want to do a YouTube thing, I'd be, you know, stuff like that. I'm always up for it. A panel.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yep, I love that kind of stuff.
We'll fillet my channel, and I'll show you my analytics, and you can walk me through what I got to do. You and Ksenia can show me how it's done.
Well, that part we'll keep offline, and then we'll use generals when we're on with everybody, so we don't let all the cat out of the bag.
But you already know that just if I titled that,
yes,
like how to arrange your YouTube channel or how to get more hits on YouTube, that video alone would probably get 1 million hits.
Yes, definitely. Most definitely.
The potential.
Then they watch the rest of my content and then subscribe.
No. You got a lot. I can't wait for our viewers to go check you out. Everybody's been asking for your link all night.
Yes.
I think a lot of people are going to be very pleasantly surprised.
I definitely wanted to ask about your newest project.
Yes.
And how did you decide to transform from grassroots to public funding, so to say, and put your newest creation of Bigfoot Bill on Indiegogo?
Sure. So Bigfoot Bill, look that up on Indiegogo. That's my campaign. I'm looking for backers.
This is awesome, guys.
It's a graphic novel about a Bigfoot who is being kept in a top secret facility in LA called the Cryptozone with all the other weird creatures like Chupacabra and Loch Ness Monster. And he wants to escape to find his family. And the only way he can escape is Poseidon, the god Poseidon, is kept in there too. Separated from water, so he's very weak. And they've severed his finger 200 years ago and keep it in a holding room. And Bigfoot Bill breaks into that room, steals the finger of Poseidon, and puts it on his arm. He holds it on his arm on a gauntlet, and it allows him to have lordship and control over the Kraken So the Kraken jumps on Bigfoot Bill as his armor, and he wears it as a suit, and it talks to him. It hates his guts because it's his slave. And but Bigfoot Bill can go out into Los Angeles and start fighting crime and helping people. So that's the key to the Bigfoot Bill saga. It's right now it's 64 pages if I can, and it's at 114,000. If I can get it up to 120, I'm going to add 16 more pages. It's going to be an 80-page book. But it's already reached the level so that it's hardbound, which I don't know how many times you get a hardbound comic, but it's a hardbound comic, full color. And I'm really going back to my Earthworm Jim roots of kind of wacky action comedy fun is what I'm trying to do. Every backer gets a free, comes with a bookmark and trading cards and a embroidered patch, Bigfoot Bill patch, and a free Bigfoot Bill video game demo that we've been working on. And we're making it with the guys, some of the guys who worked on Earthworm Jim. So we're trying to make it play like old school 90s platform game where you can be Bigfoot Bill and he has the whip, his tentacles are the whip, and he can do whip swings, and he shoots bolts of lightning out of the finger of Poseidon off his arm. And so that's going to be free and only available to my Indiegogo backers. So that's that project. Why crowdfunding? Yeah. I'm really into, it's exactly like what you're doing with YouTube. I'm just doing the selling books model of it. So instead of trying to gather a bunch of subscribers on YouTube or viewers on YouTube, I'm trying to gain readers on Indiegogo. So people, they give a $25 donation and they get the book, and it's independent. Like I'm printing these myself.
Yes.
And I'm going to mail these myself. So instead of doing books where my minimum print run at Scholastic is 50,000 books, Bigfoot Bill's minimum print run is going to be more like 3,000 or 4,000. It's a tiny print run, so it's way more collectible.
That's so awesome. When you had the programmer on the other night showing some of the setups for the game and that was so interesting to watch it happening.
Yeah, he's an amazing programmer. That's Mark Lorenzen, who worked on Vector Man and Earthworm Jim 2 with me, and the Neverhood. He helped create the Neverhood and Skull Monkeys, and he was an EA programmer on the Lord of the Rings games. And wow. He's a certified genius. We went to college together, one of my best friends. And he worked at Telltale Games as a programmer when they laid everybody off.
That's unbelievable.
So he originally turned me down for Bigfoot Bill. Then he got canned. They laid everybody off, and he goes, "Hey, I'm wide open." I go, "Get on, man. Grab an oar, start rowing."
That is so awesome. But it must have been so exciting. It must be, I was trying to think about the other night, how exciting it must be for you to see those scenes coming up. Like, it must be such a rush.
It's just weird, too. This is a guy I went to college with. You know, we're closer than close. We're like brothers. I'm going to have to program this thing with someone I don't know, like in Helsinki. Mm-hmm. And then instead I get to program it with my best friend, that's awesome. My whole life. And that, to me, that's so much funner. And that's really the spirit of Earthworm Jim, is about a bunch of friends, like just making something crazy. And because YouTube's around, we get to program it in front of people. Like Mark is showing them his code. We're showing them broken animation while we're making it, like game design stuff, how we make it. It's just, it's a whole different game now, because that's part of the entertainment.
That's so awesome.
It's working.
I'm living vicariously through you in that moment, how amazing it is watching that go and to be able to do it with your friend. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, so here's the other amazing thing. The book so far has raised $114,000. Yes. That's a bigger advance than I've ever gotten on any book in my life.
Really?
Even though it's only, my print run's only 4,000 books. But it's the biggest book I've ever made in my life. So go figure. Small but loyal audience is better than even that kind of mass media across 50,000 people. It makes more money.
That's unreal.
So the business model is just upside down. I've cut all the middlemen out.
Yep.
I'm going directly to my fans. I talk to the people who donate. We email back and forth.
That's
They
awesome.
tell me what drawing they want in the book, if it comes with a drawing in the book, and I know I'm going to give them the best story I've ever made. That's my job now. Is the terrifying part is just write and draw the best story you've ever done. That's my job.
Well, I think it's such a great product for a fan because it's so much more intimate. It's like your blood, sweat, and tears are directly into it. And as a fan, that's the greatest thing you'll find. It's like finding an Eric Clapton album that, you know, he sat down and did in his living room by himself and gave to you directly. You know?
Yeah. They can watch every page being inked on my channel every day. Basically, when I'm inking, I turn on the camera and I'm inking it on camera, and I have a bunch of other artists on to help entertain, and they're often working on their own books. So I'm not alone. I'm not in my studio alone. I'm with all my people.
And you're taking moments and you're critiquing them in a good way and bring them up. And you have guys that only have 50 subscribers, and I hear the excitement of them. To me, it would be like, once again, we'll take Eric Clapton, like saying, come on up and play with me for an hour. You're so respectful to them, and you put them at ease, and they're so happy. You can hear it in their voice. I absolutely love it. Yeah,
I like being with entertaining people, and I start interviewing while I'm inking because it uses a different hemisphere of my brain. I can draw and just do anything else, you know, talking or whatever, and it's fine. So there's no hitch in the show. And but it is weird. I mean, doing an indie book and starting an indie business is strange. Like, really artists like out there hanging on a wire. You know, I don't know where it's going to land or what's going to happen. And I'm going to take the movie and TV rights around to Netflix and try and get a TV deal. And this book, the only people who will have it are the ones who came into the Indiegogo campaign. So imagine, I'm not going to stores. I'm cutting all that out. I'm just mailing these books with a micro print run to my fans. And to show you the value, I've done 3 Kickstarters. My first Kickstarter was for the Sketchbook Archives, which was a $25 book you saw that collection.
Yes, I did. They're beautiful.
Those regularly go for $400 now on Amazon 8 years later. They hold their value and go up because you can't get that. Fans of my work I've made 17 graphic novels now, 10 through Scholastic, 6 through Scholastic, 10 through Image Comics. And this is my first indie. And it's going to be the most valuable book I've ever made.
That's unbelievable.
Just through the lack of number of them.
It's so cool though. It's such I don't know, especially for you that's seen the bigger markets, to do it Indigo. Like, a lot are doing it now. They're coming out, they can't get a deal, so they go to that part. But you've seen the other side.
I'm doing the opposite.
Yes.
I'm doing the opposite. Any publisher would take this book and they can't have it.
That's right. Isn't that so cool?
That's what makes it so awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm excited for it, you know, like that.
Yeah, so it's a real experiment because I have all these other books that are successful as a contrast. And just the raise that I've made is already, and the intimacy I have with the fans and stuff is already a better experience for me than that model. And I think this is the future model. I think a lot of indie guys are going to start coming in.
Yes.
Really grasping their audience and talking to them more and being a little more intimate and transparent with them.
Well, you have a whole group of guys that are on the forefront of that. Something is big. I don't know the industry well, but something big's a brewing. I can see it. I can feel
we're
it
doing
when I'm
big
there.
stuff.
Yes.
There's bigness in that group. I'll tell you, there's guys that are, Ethan funded his book for $500,000. And those are just giant numbers his is like a 48-page book.
Ethan, that was on that's always on Black.
Yeah, Ethan Van Sciver for Cyberfrog raised $500,000.
Wow.
Really?
For his book, for a regular comic book.
Wow.
That's the power of Comicsgate.
I love that. I didn't know that. That is
amazing. Only about 20% of my audience is Comicsgate. The rest are old fans. So I've even bumped up my numbers by a percentage because of Comicsgate.
Well, that's absolutely awesome.
It's like a cult. It's huge.
And I love the way you guys talk about it so nonchalantly when you just do.
Yeah.
It's forefront. There's no lies, and it's great. If people don't like it, even with YouTube. Sorry, I just want to reiterate this with people here because I'm always telling them that you can't be everything to everybody. You have to get used to what you do. Somebody's going to not like the way you look, the way you sound, what you're talking about, and they're not worth keeping. Focus on the ones that want to be there. Don't be upset you don't have 50 in your chat at once. Be happy you have 20 who really like what you do.
Yeah, I have no interest in the audience that isn't mine.
Yes.
I am fanatical about the audience I have.
Mm.
And so many people ignore the audience they have to go after this giant audience they don't have.
That's right.
And that's wrong. You spend all your resources on the people that are backing you and supporting you. That's where the loyalty should be. Because they put in $1. You know, they're the ones that are watching your show and liking you before you are anything.
Yep.
Those are the people I'm most interested in.
We see this in live streams where some guys like, well, I was going to go an extra 30 minutes, but we only got 10 in the chat. So you know what? It's not, oh my God, you got 10 guys that got something special for you. Let me pull something of a hat and make this the best 10 people in here you've ever enjoyed.
Right. Because just think of what you have a right to.
Yes.
You have a right to only your time.
Yes.
And if you get 2 people on your channel, you're getting the right to 2 people's time.
Yes.
With your time. You get 10 people. That's 10 times. Like, how can you disrespect 10 times your existence, caring about what you say and watching you? It's like, we ought to be thrilled.
That's right.
You know, to capture an audience. Or I go to a church where it's, you know, there's 700 people in the audience, which is pretty big.
Yeah.
But on my YouTube channel, I get 700 people in my audience all the time. I'm like one of the most successful churches. You know, I look at the church, I just go, these guys would kill to have what I have. I get people show up. They only get it on 1 day a week on Sundays. I get it like 7 days a week. I got people showing up.
Isn't it unbelievable?
Luckiest guy in the world.
We started last spring and we had 30 hours to 40 hours. We were so excited in watch time when we were done.
Yeah.
And now, yes, we've gone a lot further than that. And I'm just so much more blown away that people, like I was telling you tonight, out of 1 billion channels and all the things they have in life and all the little bit of time they have to come sit here, say, you know what, I'm going to go over to their channel and hang out for a bit. It's the most gratifying experience in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, we're lucky. These are rare times, man. People don't understand what it's like 20 years ago. You wanted to talk to a bunch of people, you couldn't.
Yeah.
There was no Skype even. There was no video conferencing. You can't. And now, like, you can for free. This is crazy.
We take it for granted. What we're, like I say, I always say that once in a while. We're broadcasting to the world right now with a click of a button. We're the world's reach.
Yeah. And they should be watching this instead of the garbage they're watching.
That's right, people. You heard it.
That's being kept as a soundbite. That's definitely. That's right.
Put that on the front. Doug TenNapel.
I'm making a new intro for our 4,000 mark, and that's going to be in there. So.
Yeah.
Do you play video games yourself, like just for pastime?
Rarely, only because I have to protect my amount of time. Because if I devote so much to comics and to YouTube, right? And so the rest of the time has to go to like family and stuff. So if I also go off and isolate on a video game, I don't have time for it. So maybe a phone app or something before I go to bed.
What's your favorite one?
Just like the dumbest game. It'll be like Free Cell. Like some total low rent. I just want to turn my brain off and just do something with my fingers. I listen to a lot of podcasts actually when I go to bed too. I almost always go to sleep with a podcast, any podcast. I'll just listen, and it puts me to sleep within about 2 minutes.
So yeah, it really doesn't matter which one.
Yeah, it has to be something that grabs my mind, because once I'm concentrating on that, I'm not concentrating on my own body anymore, and I just wipe out.
Right.
And in a half days, you know, in like a day, sometime at about midnight or 3 a.m, I'll have the earphones still in. They'll be talking in my head, and I'll just pull the earphones out in a half sleep. I don't even remember doing it.
I know, fam, you're very strong on your moral sense, and I know that ties very hard into family. I don't ask like a lot of personal questions about family.
Oh, you can ask me anything.
Just wondering how like your family dynamic and how they work around with your schedule and your, you know, because I know it comes in projects.
Yeah. We eat most meals together, with rare exception. So at least I get to have a meal with my family. We pray before we eat, so I get to pray with my family. That's like 2-3 times a day. When the kids go to school, I'm not eating lunch with them, obviously. But I'll eat lunch with my wife since she's at home. So it's good family time. And then while they're at school, I'm trying to pound out as much work as I can.
Right.
So on average, and all I ask for my family is I need to be a normal guy with an 8-hour workday. and usually I'll take 10 or 12. But 8-hour workday is what I should be trying to get it under, right? And I can. If I fall into a schedule, I can get it within 8 hours. It takes me 1 hour to pencil a page, 2 hours to ink it. 1 hour to pencil the second page, and 2 hours to ink it. So within 6 hours of that 8-hour day, I'm done with my work for the book.
Right.
And if you think about how many days there are in a year, let's say I'm working 300 days out of the year. That's 600 pages a year. I've never done 600 pages, but that's like putting out 3 graphic novels a year. So that's a luxury I have doing it full time. When I worked on VeggieTales and I was working there 8 hours a day, I would get up at 4:30 before the kids got up, and I would do a little workout, and then I would pencil a page in the morning. When I got home from work, I would ink it. So I did a page a day, even when I had a full-time job.
That's dedication.
And I moved my art table into the living room where the kids and the family were, maybe watching TV or playing games or doing their homework, so I could be with them. So I was in the room drawing with them instead of alone in my studio when I had the full-time job. So even though I was inking pages at night, I was inking right in the middle of the living room with people all around me, my family. So Dad wasn't cut off and unavailable. I could talk to them just fine while I inked.
Well, that's like Mike when I see him drawing and he's got the kids around.
Yeah.
He's got everything going on, and he makes
He's
it
a
happen.
totally present dad.
Yep. I love it. I think that's so awesome. I've noticed that many times. Yeah,
that's how you balance it. And you do have to pay attention to your families, because you're not just here to draw and burn out and die.
Yeah.
You're here to go through this adventure with other people.
Well, that's it. And I mean, still in the end, it is a job like any other job. And the whole point of a job is to keep your family, like you say, a roof over their head, all these things. So you don't want to give everything away for that job, but its purpose is for the family when it's said.
Yeah. And there's been a lot of times when I worked 18-hour days and just neglected and ignored everybody. Mm-hmm. All the days ran together, and you just start going mad. And they're like, my wife's like my roommate. She's just like, you're just a guy that comes and goes in the house. Yeah. Like, that's not success. I went through that period too.
But that happens to everybody in every job. When I was that truck driver, when I started hauling oil after all those years, I worked so many long hours. I used to fall asleep when I come home eating supper at 2 a.m.
Right.
It's not just anything you can do in life too much of that way. Some jobs just demand every bit of what you got and 10 times more. Yeah.
When you're in trouble, you work your way out, then move on to a job that's a little more friendly.
Yes, that's what we did. We went out to Saskatchewan for a couple of years, and then we were just like, well, there's no life here anymore. We're not enjoying any time together. When I wasn't working, I was so burnt out. It was just everything in me to get enough rest to try and do it again.
Yeah.
It's not a
life.
And
I'm only drawing to avoid teaching. I've got 3 universities that are offering me jobs, and I'm like, I tell my wife, like, I might have to take one. And if I do, the comics thing goes on the back burner. But I just said, if I can get X amount on Indiegogo, can I avoid that teaching job for another year? She said yes. So I reached it. Mm-hmm. And I do another Indiegogo in August, and it'll be, if I raise X amount on Indiegogo, can I avoid that teaching job? Because to me, if the audience is saying, yes, stay, tell us stories, then I don't want to teach. I want to tell stories. But if they're not there and there's a bunch of students saying, come teach us, then I'll go teach them.
That's right. You're flexible. And that's so important, because some people, and especially YouTube, and sorry, I'm tying into YouTube. I'm just also trying to pass some messages to everybody in here that are generalized.
Yeah.
A lot of people are coming into YouTube like the 80s were for LA. If you go to LA, you're going to be a rock star. It don't work that way. You can't look at YouTube as that golden dream. It's like the parents setting their kids up for basketball because they'll be in NBA and they'll all be rich and they'll be happy.
Yeah.
It's so unrealistic. You got to be ready to accept the fact when things aren't enough for you to live on. Or I tell people, like, get used to getting a little bit of money, enjoy that part, and then after that, maybe look at it as a sideline. If you get there, it could be really cool, and so on and so forth.
And it's just, you can't control what other people do. Mm-hmm. That's kind of another thing with pitching to executives is you can't make someone else like something.
That's right.
You can't make, you really can't. You can just do your best and tell a story. You can't force people to show up.
No.
And if no one shows up, then maybe you're just made to do your stories yourself, and mass media isn't your thing. Art's still your thing, but mass media isn't, or some other art form is your thing.
I'm sure, like with music artists as well, there's a guy drawing that you can't believe probably had more talent than you've ever seen in all your career, but they just never had that break. They were sick the day of the pitch.
Yeah.
1,000 reasons. The guy he pitched to was in a bad mood.
Yeah. Well, Ellis Goodson on my show. I mean, he's one of the most brilliant guys I know. He's basically retired in Oklahoma. Yeah. He's like been a mentor to so many of us. My best friend, Mark Lorenzen, who's the programmer, he just never had a break.
Yep.
He's probably the most brilliant programmer and painter I've ever met.
Really?
He can paint oils. Yeah, oil portraits. He's a master painter.
Wow.
And plays guitar, knows music theory. I mean, he's a madman. So he's like a genius at everything, but God limited his superpower by crippling him with no opportunity.
Yes, and it's true. It's true. How many times you gone into a bar or a street corner, heard a guy playing guitar, and you're like, this is better than anybody that's ever had a chance.
Yeah, all the time. And I've met the most mediocre people just making millions of dollars as television execs.
Yes.
I mean, like, can't believe. I'm like, how did this work? This guy has no talent, can't tell a story, doesn't know what a story is, and he's like just raking it in for failure. And everything he makes is bad, you know? It's like,
this is the $1 million question you led me up to that I want to ask you all night.
Sure.
Since you've seen the big times and you've seen also on YouTube, do you think with the way things are going in the Indiegogo, the YouTube sector, that we might be in finally for true quality entertainment finally? Because a lot of those barriers that the execs don't have as much input anymore?
I think we're changing. We're changing the language of the entertainment that we take in.
Yes.
Is my theory. It is losing a certain kind of quality. Okay. Which is like, you know, the production values that you see in Infinity Wars.
Right.
Obviously, we can't do that here.
Yes.
But my show has more intimacy, legitimate intimacy than Infinity War does. And apparently they couldn't pay $300 million to get that. So see, they can't compete with me and I can't compete with them. The question is, will the audience continue to speak this language that we're speaking on YouTube? And I believe absolutely they will. I just think when they look into your channel, they're looking in the mirror.
Yep.
And we like looking in the mirror more than looking into a window of idealized, beautiful, but product. It's like looking at logos all day instead of looking at your children. It's like, yeah, that's a beautiful logo, but this child is mine.
Right.
And even if your child's like, you know, is like a severe burn victim and deformed, it's like, oh, I'd still rather be with my child.
Yes.
So that's what I think. I think we've got something going here on YouTube and on this kind of mass media that is that really could change the kinds of things that people want to see. Wow. So it's new. We don't know where it's going to land, and if it does land somewhere cool, we're on the front end of it, and lots of other people are going to join in. It'll kind of be just like everyone has their own channel.
Yep.
It's like, you know, think of the intimacy that you got from the Facebook. I had 5,000 friends and family on there. You just share your lives with each other.
Yep.
And I think that's kind of more what we're going to do is we're going to share our lives, and you spend a bunch of time on Facebook, and people are putting out content, and the content that you're not interested in, you won't sign up to watch. And the people that you're really into, you'll just watch them, you know, for as many waking hours as you have to put in front of a screen. You're not going to go and look at what's on some TV network anymore.
Yep.
About a you know, a detective that has nothing to do with you.
Well, if we talked 10, 15 years ago and I said to everybody in here, what's your top 10 bands and movies? Most likely 5 out of the 10 would overlap with almost everybody. But now, like artists, so many people are into so many indie artists and they're making a decent living. They're not as rich as used to be. But instead of a couple at the top, there's such a broad array of people.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's where I can point to a trajectory, right?
Yeah.
Is when I was a kid, or when we were kids, there were 4 channels, and then UHF came. There's a few more channels. Then cable came, or HBO and Showtime subscription cable, and then broader cable, hundreds of channels, each of them carving up that pie, so that now a big hit show has about 1/10 or maybe even 1/20 of what a big hit show would have had 20 years ago.
Yep.
Seinfeld and all those major network shows. Now a big hit, you know, is 1/10 that size.
Yep. That's right.
Well, on YouTube, what we're going to get as a hit is 1/1000th that size.
Yes, that's right.
But this channel is its own network.
That's right.
So people want what Pusa puts out. You have created the exact niche, the exact channel. It's like you did Duck Dynasty. If you want to see Duck Dynasty, you can only go to that one channel on that one network, because everyone's not doing that.
Yep.
So I see it as a further splintering and kind of cross collateralization of that market to where now we have millions of channels.
Yeah.
Millions of channels. And it's not too many.
Mm.
It's just normal. It's like a democracy almost.
That's right.
You have 2 million channels, and the next generation, kids are already like, they don't use Facebook even.
No, that's
They
passe for them.
text.
Yep.
They text or whatever, or the kids today, they watch so much more YouTube because they have their phones with them. They don't even want to see TV on a screen. They want to see it on their phone. I want my personal screen.
Yep.
Is where we're going. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm only saying that's the trajectory I'm saying.
Our daughter's 7. When we go home, she can't grasp the fact that when I go to my parents, this idea of you have to wait for a certain time of day to watch SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Because it's not in her understanding. She's grown up without, we don't have a TV in here anymore. We haven't had it for 3 years.
Yeah.
She doesn't understand it. She's out. My kids are 21, well, going to be 21, 12, and going to be 8. Each one of them grew up in a different generation, where when you and I grew up, we were in one generation and things changed every 20 years. Before that was every 50 and then every 100.
Yeah. And I already have like hundreds of videos, or 100 or so videos. So I already have more episodes than most TV shows do that you can binge on Netflix.
That's right.
I love that. I know it, but I never thought of it in that context.
So if you want this channel, and I'm the only one that gives it, you're not going to go binge what's on Netflix. You're going to binge this channel that you want.
That's right.
Very true.
I love that.
Yeah. The principles are there. If you look at the trajectory, the principles are there.
See, last year we did live streams. We named them after like Joe Rogan did, because we didn't know what to call them. So we did #001, 002.
Yeah.
Then I got thinking about it. Well, if we're doing these interviews and people start taking off and getting more notice, they're searching, they'll come back. People don't like to watch live streams as much. So then we decided to change it and go by seasons, because also we want to turn them into podcasts. And it actually rejuvenated them more. As people started looking up new channels, they'd find this when they were searching. And that actually helped get more notice for us.
Are you for the podcast, splitting off a podcast then? Because I've thought of doing that.
Yeah, we're definitely doing it.
Yeah, we're definitely doing that.
Yep.
You can't edit it down, or do you edit it down, or are you just going to strip the audio out and put it out there?
I'll strip the audio. I might cut it. I might edit it a little bit for time. I'll see, maybe pick an hour or something like that, and then cut out the best moments, like a Howard Stern like semi-series.
Yeah.
But I figure we already have the content. Why not use it? It's there already.
I agree. I agree.
It's you have to be so because when we were talking about how times are shifting and splintering, I think it's going to eventually take away some of the great wealth that the top 1% actors get. It's going to be more dispersed, but we're going to have to be more versatile, and you can't rely just on your channel alone. It will be merchandise. It'll be a podcast. It'll be all these little things that come together to make something.
I don't understand the strength of the podcast, and I am very I'm starting a podcast, by the way, with a couple of friends. We have a podcast already that we're going to do called Audio Mullet.
That's awesome. I love the name, by the way.
It's going to come out in the next 2 weeks. It's Michael J. Nelson from Mystery Science Theater, and Ethan Nicole, who did Axe Cop, and I. We talk about faith and politics and all that stuff. I just think it's redundant, because when people watch my show, they'll watch it through their phone and just put headphones in and not look at it.
Same here.
Listening to it. So it's a podcast.
Yep.
Without having, so why not just, it's kind of a podcast already.
Yeah, exactly. You're 100% right. We got the exact same thing. That's why every episode we have to start off by saying hi to everybody that's listening in, because we always know there's a certain percentage doing that.
Yeah.
We have a guy from England, My Japanese Lifestyle UK. We're too late for him, of course, but every morning on the way to work, now him and his coworkers addicted. They listen to our show every day driving into London.
Oh, that's cool.
I love that. Exactly. I'm so touched by it. I think it's so amazing,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was the fun thing for me was, I've got a guy from Puerto Rico. I've got a guy from North Dakota, I've got a guy from Canada. I've got my colorist from England. I've got my colorist from Germany. Like we're all from all over just showing up. It's like this totally eclectic car wreck of a cast.
Right.
And I never know what I'm going to get from show to show. Sometimes I'll just invite, who knows who's going to show up.
But that's so cool. That's that's the essence of your show, is that energy.
Yeah, my favorite was last night, A Fox in Space. Matt was just wasted drunk. He was on my show. Like, I've had Matt on my show a lot, but not Matt drunk.
Oh my God.
I didn't expect it. I'm just like, I have no control, man. Get in here and start talking.
That's entertainment.
He was almost belligerent, like almost starting fights. I loved it.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
It was funny.
Oh, at Green Bay, he was the one asking about the TV show tonight. He was saying, and now Doug will have someone from Wisconsin, so he's watching.
Oh, my Wisconsin people. There you go. My mom was born there, so see.
He's the cheesehead. He always has the big block of cheese on his head on his videos and stuff, live streams.
Yeah. Well, anyone wants to come on the show, let me know and I'll get you on. That's what I do.
I love your attitude, and not many people know this, that I met Doug first on he was on a panel, and then I started following more, and he opens up the chat sometimes to everybody at the end, and I took a chance and went up. I felt really weird. I'm like, either it's going to work, it's a pitch, and I'm like, either it's going to work or it's going to come off really creepy. And then there's the little kid from Taiwan. I'm like, oh, I don't want to follow him, he's too cute.
Yeah, I could tell though that you knew what you were doing by how you talked. You knew how to carry yourself, keep a conversation going, take turns, get on a microphone, all that. I go, oh yeah, he knows what he's doing.
That means
because some people come on the show and they're just sitting there silent.
Yes.
For the whole show. I'm like, oh no, why did you come in? Why'd you come on the show? The camera's not on you. I'm looking at your logo. I'm trying to talk to you and you don't answer. I'm going, just get off. It's like, let someone who wants to talk get in. I have every slot filled, like 4 of them are people who don't talk, non-communicative.
And I love it. I love your attitude. It's so healthy. And somebody in your position, done what they did, shouldn't have that healthy of an attitude. That's why it's refreshing and startling all into one.
It's why I'm so happy. I'm the happiest guy I know. I'm the happiest guy I know.
Well, then not everybody can say that. Are you able to see our screen, by the way, or can you only just see us? If I flash, are you seeing the video playing as well on YouTube?
I am in the background.
Okay.
Yeah, so I see some of the stuff that you're cutting to, man. I got to get some OBS stuff. I don't even know how. You got to have like octopus hands to be able to do all this.
Well, I'm not sure how I'm doing it either. I'm just getting used to it myself, but I am trying to get it more. I was wondering if you have a second. I might just share something with you. Somebody just walked in. His name is Ortero Studios.
Sure.
And he is a amazing cartoonist, and he helped us with a collaboration one time, and it's probably my most prized possession.
Oh, cool.
Because a lot of people used to, when we first started a live stream, they used to compare it to Cheers. Because they said everybody knows your name in here. And we always worked on that. That's why we do a roll call every night and all those things. So we redid Cheers, but I'm going to make sure the volume's off, though, because God forbid I'll get a copyright strike if I don't.
Yeah, I know, right? Don't do that.
That won't be good. So I think I have it here. I'm just going to cue it up for a second. There we go. And he did the main iconic picture in Cheers, you know, where the logo finally comes out, the girl and that. And he put us into it, and I'm so proud of it. So you just have the picture
it as a show, a show bumper?
Yep. You just picture the Cheers music playing, the intro, how it went to black and white while we did the same thing.
Yeah.
That's right. We did it as Montreal, but we did it about our live stream, and it's to pay tribute.
Sure would help a lot.
When you like to get away. And he did this picture for us, and I'm so proud of it. He really did a great job of getting us in.
Oh, that is wonderful. And I love the beautiful people,
and
too.
The bottle, and it's Xenia and I.
Oh, that's good.
And then I animated the logo and put it together, and I'm very proud of that. I thought that was so cool.
Very cool. Pusa Studios.
Well, you know, that's what and I wanted to build that community, and I think things like that make it a community.
Pusa, you have something special here, man.
Thank you.
That's cool. You have something special.
It means so much to have you come in, because I'm always trying to bring new communities, because otherwise it becomes a bit like a little too inbred sometimes, because everybody's passing the same gene pool around, and I don't want that. I want fresh blood. I want
I feel the same way. I'm always trying to get people on my show. You see me always trolling people on Twitter, going, "Come on my show," today I invited, I'm tired of having, I don't want to have a bunch of evangelicals on my show. It's like, I already know that position. I don't need you. So I invited, there were 5 ranting trans feminists on my Twitter. And I just go I'm inviting all of you on the come on the show. We'll have ladies night. It'll be just guys and me, and we'll talk it out.
I love it.
They had no interest. But I was dead dog serious. I wanted to bring them on and have a blast.
Cast a big net. You can get some really great fish.
I love inviting anybody on, man.
Yep.
I've made great contacts and had a lot of fun.
And even if you don't see eye to eye, I find you always do it you're adamant. You don't break on your principles, but you're also very respectful of anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing that I guarantee to everyone who comes on my show is I'll treat you with dignity, and I want you to have a good time. Yeah. So I don't want to sit there and just destroy someone on the air. That's just terrible. That's not right to do, right? You're only going to get away with that once. Instead, I'm if you're not having a good time, then I'm doing it wrong. Yeah. And that includes, you should be able to ask me whatever, and you should be able to say what you want to say. And I ask them questions. I don't, you know what I mean? I don't know what the right answer is for what I'm not going to tell them what to say. Yeah. I want to hear what they have to say. And it's worked really well. Everyone's had a good time. Everyone wants to come back on. So I'm happy.
Would you ever consider coming back to visit us again, sir?
Always. Always.
I've never said that before, but I've had, the time has beyond, I can't believe what the time went.
Through our fingers.
I've had such an awesome time. I'd love
to have you on my show too. Come back on my show.
I would love to. Yeah. Like I say, if you want to talk more, if we can bring our strengths, we can talk a bit about, because I know some of your channels, they all kind of just getting going in YouTube and stuff. If we can help with that.
Oh, I definitely got to do that, man. Doing that, going over the analytics, going over how to design a channel, and for them to watch it get bumped up suddenly on the next episode or whatever train me on OBS or something, and suddenly it'll show up. Yep. And see the results, and we can test the results and monitor that. I think that'd be huge.
I would love to. That's our passion. We did that Tech Talk Tuesday. Every Tuesday, it's 3 hours of 100 some people just sitting in a chat for 3 hours brainstorming. How do you do this? Where do you do that? Here's an example of this. And I love that.
Oh, that's cool. Well, I'm so on the bottom floor that I have a lot to learn from you guys. So I think just a few little tips. I'm very slow.
Not a problem.
I'm not a quick guy when it comes to tech. So you have to use very small words.
Well, you can message us anytime about it. And I feel like you reiterated a lot. It means a lot to people here because they've seen you've gone to the other side, and the tips tonight gives them some confidence on where they got to go with their channel. I think it's invaluable what you've given them.
Yeah. I think I'm big fans of this whole theory. It's a giant experiment. And for all we know, the kids in your chat, the people who try and figure it out themselves, they could just take off, and they'll be teaching us. So.
Oh yeah, it's gonna move in milliseconds. Even my kids, like I said, that short age gap. Now things change every year. Every year is a new world.
Yeah, it's true.
So they got to stay on top of it.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh.
You are so generous with your time. You really are a pleasure to talk to. You're everything I hoped you would be. You are. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I had a blast. And it's my pleasure. I'm the lucky one. You guys are great.
Well, I really appreciate that you appreciate what we're doing here. That really does mean a lot because we're still learning as we go. But thank you for those words. It means a lot.
Yeah, and I'll keep spreading the channel around. We got to cross-pollinate. That's how it works.
Tomorrow afternoon, we have them twice a week. We have our channel shoutouts, and those are interesting. We got a wheel going. We spin it. We call it 2 letters. There's 100 and some people. Yeah. We call it 2 letters. They all type them once, and then we spin a wheel from 1 to 16, and the winner gets it. We got the echo going on. We got music playing. We give in-depth reviews of their channels about tags and stuff and all that. It's a lot of fun.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. That's our wild side. That's where we let go and get a little more crazy. So
yeah. Dress the lady up in sequins.
Yes, that's right. That's right. I'm hoping for that. See,
the lovely Miss Xenia.
Oh, thank you. Sweet.
Flip the letter. In the wheel.
Before you go, there was one last thing. Yes, I forgot about that. I queued it for you because I told you about it.
Okay.
Sorry, I jumped the gun here. That's our wedding when we got married. I was telling you in Iceland we had a Viking wedding.
Yeah.
Those clothes are made from the History Channel from the History Channel show Vikings, where Floki got married.
And it looks like the Shire behind you.
Yes, it's a 700-year-old Viking site we got married in.
How neat.
We eloped, and the kids, we've had kids, we've been together for years, but we finally tied the knot. So I always wanted to go to Iceland. I didn't want to get married again. So Xenia thought of that way to get me to do it. So
that's right. She tricked you. Good job.
She did. So it was a pagan wedding, and it's just absolutely unbelievable. So
totally pagan.
Yes.
Look at that wizard. Look at that apothecary you have there.
Oh, she's the head one of all of Iceland. She's the one who was building their not palace. What do you call it?
Pagan church.
Pagan church. Yes.
Pagan church. Do they believe in elves?
Yes,
they do.
Like there's a ton of people in Iceland where they totally believe elves are absolutely real.
They do.
When you have a 6'6" guy with a beard believing in elves, you know you're in somewhere special.
Yeah.
Doug, thank you so much for your time. It's been nothing short of an absolute pleasure, my friend.
Oh, my pleasure. Anytime.
Oh, you are awesome,
Thank
my
you.
friend. We'll see you very soon.
It's great to meet your kids and have fun. We'll hang.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you, brother.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh my God. That was what a night.
Oh, that was I'm speechless even. I don't even know how to describe it.
Yeah.
It was so amazing. We were so excited coming into this, and it was
inspired.
It was everything and more than we thought it would be. So much wisdom.
Yep.
Wisdom nuggets and information. Like people in the chat was saying too, like it's so educational.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You know, it was really, really interesting to bounce the ideas off, and you know, it's I think it's rare to see down to earth people who have been in a higher ground, so to say, to be so down to earth. You know, as you said, like we all are humans.
Yes.
And that was really amazing. And yeah, Doug has his lives every day. Do you know what time?
I'm so lost right now.
I can't even ask him questions.
Yeah, I was reading the chat at the same time while you were talking. I'm so sorry. I felt bad, guys. Usually we try to be more involved with the chat. We tried our best, but engaging in conversation was just... Thank you, Susan's Creative. Kept my interest for 2 hours.
Thank you.
Nothing held back knowledge, wisdom, and truth. The trips, I just got here. Feel like I missed something awesome. We've never done it before, but we definitely got to have them back because we just scratched the surface onto it.
And definitely you can rewatch it once it uploads up. So definitely, Terra Studios Lost Connection. Well, we showed Doug your artwork on our Cheers video.
Yes.
Which he was very impressed with. So
yes.
If you missed that, you can go back and see us talking about you, Otero. We always appreciate you.
The trips, yeah, you definitely. I guys, if you can go back and watch it over a few minutes, it was really amazing. I mean, this was some awesome advice. Wacky said he had to go. That was amazing. I'm going to make some coffee, get ready for the midnight hours.
We kept Chuck busy during his drive. That's awesome. That's awesome, guys. Margie Yeomans, thank you so much for this wonderful evening. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you. It was really amazing night. We were looking forward to it. And guys, we have more and more guests like this coming up. We have smaller channels, bigger channels, people outside of YouTube that maybe have YouTube channel, maybe don't. We try to give you more entertainment, more things you can enjoy every evening right here with interviews Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, with Tech Talk Tuesday and Tuesday, and shout out game night on Sundays and Thursdays. So hope you enjoy, and if you haven't subscribed, please do press that red button up there.
Yeah, I know the trips on this were all the same way on that one. And I know sometimes live streams, you know, I get it too. They're not everyone wants to watch them full through. This one had so much into it. And remember, guys, we have guest nights that have 500 subscribers. It doesn't make them any less interesting. We have a list now. It's been a little easier this year, thank God, because we did a lot of running last year. But it's about engaging stories. And I mean, there's some that his size, he doesn't have the biggest channel, but I mean, he's just gotten it back and he's just starting to run with it. It's going to be huge in no time.
Oh, definitely.
That's the time that
The numbers behind the channel doesn't really mean anything.
No.
There can be a person with almost no subscribers, and when you get into them and look behind their channel, there's so much more out there. You know, one of the people that I keep mentioning is Juliet Miranda that I just happened to catch. She has a podcast, one of the top 200 iTunes podcasts, and at the time, I think she had a little bit over 100 subscribers. Well, YouTube is not her thing. The podcast is, right? So you can't judge people just by the numbers that are in the sub. And that's what we are trying to do here, is get to know people behind the sub count, behind the zeros and ones that we all are so focused on sometimes. Because after all, we are all humans here. We're connecting on the human level, not on 0 and 1 level. And there's so many stories exciting to get to know during these interviews that we're doing. I don't even like calling them interviews. It's more like a, casual talk on our couch, right?
Yep.
So I hope you guys enjoy that, and we're on the same level of the human level of everybody being on, humans and with their own story to tell.
Like he is. I'm just playing that clip again. Here he is interviewing Patricia Heaton, the wife from Everybody Loves Raymond, just sitting in his living room in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Like he has that same connectivity with people, and with him being such I'd say superstar in the comic book world, he just pastes his Hangouts link in the chat in the last 20 minutes, and sometimes at the beginning, and just invites a ton of people up, and they just draw while they're talking to him, some of all different levels and that, and I think that is so amazing that he opens himself up so much to other people. You definitely have to check him out.
Well, he drops the link in the tweet, in a Twitter, which is
exactly.
just beyond daring. You know, guys, how it is with trolls on this platform, and I mean, putting it in Hangouts is a daring level, but putting it out there on Twitter is another level of daring. So definitely, next time I have to ask, what about daring in his life? What risky things he does, except for putting Hangouts on Twitter. And yes, if you were a fan of Earthworm Jim, and we're always wishing for the second part of it coming out, not exactly that, but something very, very similar, Doug is producing, putting out there a new book, a Bigfoot Bill graphic novel, and hopefully the game also coming shortly after in a fundraising campaign on Indiegogo. So if you're interested in that, you can always go and check it and support, and maybe even get a part of a book or a book itself, a limited series, as he was saying, available only to supporters. So go check that out.
He was talking about it, like the books will be in his garage. Like that's what he's saying on his live stream. You know, it can't get much more grassroots than that. And it's inspiring for somebody who's been on that other side to come back and go this route, because they felt that they were getting too much control. They wanted to do their own thing, and they're staying true to it, which is so cool. Truly inspirational tonight. Really, like, I think a lot of people got really amped from it, and that's so amazing to see. And you guys have just as much opportunity to shake up this world with all that you guys do, with all these great channels that you are. And I want to thank you guys very much for today. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Remember, tomorrow afternoon, guys, tomorrow afternoon is that time. Channel Shoutouts, European edition, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. UK.
That's right.
And so on and so forth, guys. I hope so, Tara. I think you'll really like it. And like I say, I had to shout you out into it. I had to show him something you've done. I know maybe you wish I could have shown more of your work. I should have did that, but I just wanted to show him something you did, because I'm so proud. And he really liked what you did. He thought it was amazing. So.
Yeah, Lady of Fork, thank you for bringing you home safe, she said. Well, thank you for joining us. And thank you all who listened and maybe didn't join in the chat. We do appreciate you watching us. And hopefully sometime you can subscribe to us and come back for more.
Make sure to tell everybody how awesome he was, because we're going to definitely bring him back again. So anybody that didn't have the chance to see him, let them be ready for the next time, because this was just such a great night. So we ready to pick a live stream, Hutton?
Yes, let's do that, as we always do on networking and promoting channels, is also visiting people when they are live, and that's what we do. Our raids are not in the middle of our shows. This is how we end. And let me see. We just pick randomly from what we see.
You're very welcome. Weekend Warriors, thank you so much once again. You guys are absolutely awesome. And I really appreciate how you guys have grown with us and supported us. Like today was a big night. We're trying to get new people in here, and you guys are just you represent the community so well and so gracious to the new people that came in. And that's great to see, guys. We can really grow and have more people seeing us and do more things together. All the new people in here, you guys, I'm so happy to have you. I hope you can subscribe and come back. Also, if you haven't hit the like button. Also, to anybody new, what we're doing right now is we pick a live stream. It's voluntary, but we'll post it in with the hashtag Blue Wrench Group. And you're welcome to come over with us. We take the hashtag and paste it in and show a channel some love. It's just us kind of passing it forward. And maybe you'll find a new live stream that you really like, some new people you'll really like. And it's just our way of keep paying it forward. Tonight was a good night.
Oh, it was amazing. And time, just as I was saying that before, we're just going to run out of time. And that's exactly what happened, you know.
And there's nothing better than great conversation. And he is so great at that. He is so engaging. And he could have been somebody that come on with his history, you know, and not like even giving us a word in edgewise. And he was so gracious, so respectful. It just makes for a great night. Oh, I love that Lady of the Lake Fork. I love hearing the... Barely knows the traffic or the flood.
Flood?
Oh,
my God. Where are you?
I hope everything is all right. I mean, I hope you're okay.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, not noticing flooding probably is not a good thing. No. Are you okay?
I first and foremost, be safe. You can always rewind it. But, wow. Thank you so much, Chicken Fried Barbecue. Really, really great people. Guys, I Living My Way. Vince Land is here. Joshua Walker. Chicken Fried Barbecue once again. Jenny, how are you? Nice to see you as always. Martina, single mom. Ask questions, try it. Turtle Creativity. Ian Jackson. List is going up. Hillbilly Pyro is here. I love that there's so many people from so many communities. That was our goal from the beginning. That's the one thing we knew we wanted to do, was be that meeting post where everybody from every walk of life could come in here, big channels, small channels, cooking channels, mechanic channels, and everybody could intertwine. Not just to grow for numbers and subscribers, that is a great thing of it, but to be inspired, to find new ways of looking at YouTube, to bounce ideas off each other. I love that. I always want this channel to be like a big think tank, that you'll walk away feeling a little bit more ready to make your next video. A new way of looking at things. Tammy, well, it's you guys that do it. You guys make it awesome in here. It's definitely the audience. We could talk to the walls, you know? So, it's... So
we're sending you, hashtag from Pusa with Love, raid to JCTV, Our Family Adventures. There's going to be 2 boys that are going to be very excited. The father and 2 young boys are going to be very excited for the raid. So please go and put the hashtag in. Let's make somebody's day.
Yep.
You know, it doesn't cost anything to spread kindness, so let's do that.
And tomorrow, guys, 1 p.m. channel shoutouts. And Friday, we are back at our regular time with Donner Uke, all the way from the great UK. It is awesome. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for everything you do for us. You guys are truly awesome. And just Terrell. I just have to say hi, Terrell, our original wrench. When we didn't have many people in here, no one to give wrenches, Terrell stepped to the plate and has been with us ever since. So shows Terrell some love on your way out. Please, guys, hit that like button. If you're new here, I hope you can hit that subscribe button so you can see more of what we do. Much, much love to you guys. We're going to go into our previews of what's coming up for about 2 to 3 minutes. Xenia will continually post the link here with the hashtag. I hope you guys can join us at the other channel. Be well. We'll see you soon. Cheers and keep creating. Have a good night, everybody. Be well.